opportunity that we can't pass on.
E te ti, e te tā, no mai rā. Kia ora, welcome in to Ōtautahi, Christchurch for the 50th running of the New Zealand Secondary Schools Association Cross Country Championships. Ko Makarozanoski aho, and with me is Angie Petty, one of the finest middle distance runners New Zealand has produced. And Angie, this is your home city. Describe the course for us.
Kia ora, thank you very much for having me. Yeah, I think this is an awesome course. It's been raining quite a lot over the last 24 hours, so it is starting to get a bit muddier. There's some nice wee mounds and some barriers for the athletes to jump over. No crazy hills this year, but still a good fun course.
Also joining us as part of the commentary team is Pai Wynyard, who competed last year. Pai, over to you for the mihi.
Thank you. E te iwi nau mai haere mai ki tēnei papahotanga a whakaata Māori. Ka mihi ki ngā maunga, ngā waiminga ki ahi ka o tēnei rohe. Tēnā koutou katoa. Ki ngā kai whakahaere, me ngā kai whakataetai, he mihi mahana hoki ki a koutou.
Kia ora Pai, and Pai, you'll join us for the senior boys a little later. You've got recent fresh experience of that, and of course you won the 8,000 metres, the 8 kilometres road championships here in Christchurch in 2023, so you're feeling good?
Yep, feeling good. Yeah, it was quite a while ago, so it was good to get that one under the belt, but yeah, it's good to be back and help out with this commentating, and yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Okay, we really appreciate your time, and now we get ready for the very first event of the day. There are 6 races, 4 of them we'll be covering for you here on the streaming service at Whakaata Māori, and it is the 3,000 metres first up for the junior girls, 2 times around the 1.5 kilometre lap. So here we are, this is the venue from above. Yes, our drone shot this morning as we look forward to Omatua Whenua cross country here at QE2 and Ascot Parks here in Ōtautahi, Christchurch. And the first event coming up is for the junior girls. It's over 3,000 metres, 2 circuits of the 1.5 metre circuit. The runners getting ready to assemble. There were 101 entries from 44 schools, Angie, and obviously there'll be a few that pull out, but clearly, you know, big field's the order of the day with 800 athletes here today, so people will be looking for a bit of a spot early on.
Kia ora, yes, I think it's going to be very exciting out there. I think all the girls are going to want to get out to a good start and position themselves well as they've got plenty of space as they head down that first straight before they get into the more nitty-gritty corners further on the course. So yeah, it's going to be exciting to see what race tactics come into play today.
Kokiri means sprint, and I've been to a couple of primary school cross countries in recent weeks, Angie, and the kokiri early on is breathtaking from the young kids because they just seem to go hell for leather like it's a 100-metre sprint.
Yes,
and then they can pay for it at the back end, but obviously it's quite clear that you do want to get into a prominent position, so you do have to use up a bit of petrol early.
Yeah, these runners, these Naikai Uma, will be wanting to make sure they do pace themselves today because it is 3 kilometres, and I know some of these girls have got some pretty good 3K times on the track, and we've got Madison and Wass running today, Paige Dobson, Sophie Lamb, some of the favourites from last year, top 3 from the Year 9 girls race last year, so it is a pretty stacked field, and I'm sure there's going to be some different tactics. There's obviously the barriers as well, so you can go around them, but it'll be quicker to get over them, so coaches would have told the athletes what they should be doing, yeah.
Have you had a close look at the full circuit?
Yes, yep. So our squad, my husband Sam and I coach a squad here in Christchurch, and we've had quite a few training sessions around this course over the last few weeks. So I feel we've had a bit of a home advantage, I guess you'd say. And it is a really nice course. not particularly hilly, not like maybe some of your standard courses, but still enough of the ups and downs to make it interesting.
Yeah, we won't be talking about Ngā Hills much today, or even Puki. It's pretty flat sort of a course. Course Huarahi is the word that we will refer to today as the runners get set for the first of 6 races today, 4 of which we will cover here on the Whakaata Māori streaming service at Junior Girls at the beginning, Junior Boys off the back of this, and Para Boys running with the juniors as well, and then this afternoon Senior Girls and Boys as we're underway with the first race of the day. As you say, Angie, nice wide straight for them to settle into some sort of rhythm.
Yes, that's correct, and it'll be interesting to see which names we can see as they come up closer to the camera. Looks like some of these girls are already wanting to get out hard and give themselves some good room to get out and break the field apart early on.
So obviously there's also a team element to this. People looking, of course, for individual results, but the combination for the teams is well important to some of these schools.
That's right. I mean, you know, sometimes some of the athletes might struggle to be able to get a medal themselves, but if they can position themselves well enough within their school, that's a really good opportunity for them to do that. And, you know, and it's also, you know, teamwork and supporting each other in their school to do the best that they can out there.
So this is the 50th edition of the New Zealand Secondary Schools Cross Country. Of course, we didn't have one in 2020 due to COVID. But in 1974, and on this very day, in fact, the 15th of June, we had the first at Cuthbert's Green here in Ōtautahi, only a matter of kilometres from where we are now. And remarkably, Alison Deed, who became Alison Rowe, ran second in the senior girls a matter of about 7 years before she went on to win the Boston and New York marathons. So we do get to see runners of the future here, Angie.
Yeah, it's very awesome, isn't it? I know I look back at the history and I see that a lot of the kind of top 3 or even top 10 athletes that do well at secondary school events often do go on and compete internationally. Obviously, the likes of Sam Tanner and some of the other guys in more recent years. Daniel Prescott's about to head off to America, and he won this title last year. And yeah, it's great to see them go on and do great things.
We were together for a commentary in Nelson 2 years ago, and Palmerston North last year. I was there, and one thing I did learn by the end of the day was the colours of the schools, but of course there are a good number of schools. In fact, 44 represented in this, so we'll get to see as much of the action towards the end of the race as we can in terms of who might be coming through. But Angie's already identified some of the runners that we expect to see. And from last year, the Year 9 girls, Madison was the winner, as Angie mentioned, from Paige Dobson and Sophie Lamp, who are all here. And Angie, how often does it follow through the following year as they move up a category? Is it tough for the Year 9 to junior girls? Is that a difficult transition?
Yeah, I think it is pretty common to at least be up there, maybe not necessarily win the title each year, but you've got the likes of Bo Ritchie, who's done well the whole way through, and she'll be featuring later in the senior girls, one of the favourites for that race after getting second last year. Obviously this year she's going in very strong. So yeah, you do see some that do well every year. Daniel Prescott got third as a Year 9 and then won the senior boys title. So it's exciting to see this young talent who are our next generation of superstars.
Indeed. Sophie Lamp, who was third in the Year 9 last year, as we mentioned, won the South Island Under-16 Championship recently at Timaru at the end of May there, as we get a good look at the leading contenders coming through.
I think that might be Paige Dobson at the front from Napier Girls, so she was second last year in the Year 9 grade. Very good runner out of Napier there. And we might have Sophie Lamp and Madison Wass in that front bunch as well.
And you expect them to be prominent throughout 3 kilometres and twice around this course. You mentioned the hurdle element. There's 2 of them, and they do have the option to go around, but you were saying, Angie, that the quickest way is straight over. Do you think that most of them, certainly the leading contenders, would do that? Yeah,
we saw the Canterbury Secondary Schools was held here a couple of weeks ago, when we noticed the difference with the athletes that went around would lose probably a good few metres on the athletes that went over. Even if you're not particularly fast over, I think it is faster overall. If you get that hurdle technique really well, then yeah, it does make a big difference. Yeah,
Pecky is to jump, and that's what the leading contenders will be doing over the 2 hurdles on the 1.5 kilometre course, which they will get around twice here. This is the junior girls, first race of 6 of the day and first of 4 that we will be taking here.
And you can see Napuki, the hills, just the little wee hills, if we can call them that, that they've been over. They had that first hill after they came down that home straight, which is probably the biggest one on the course, but the rest of it are pretty small wee mounds. And the athletes look like they're, making the most of those, using the downhill and getting into some good stride along there. But talking of Madison Walsh, her grandfather was a very good marathon runner, so she's got some very good genes, and she's got a 3K PB of 10:30. And a 1500 PB of 4:37, which is pretty awesome for that age. So she's going to be strong even in the second half of this race, I'm sure.
And you talk about the Canterbury secondary schools being here, so very much a home advantage if they are able to obviously to have that experience here before the Nationals.
That's right, and I guess that happens every year to wherever it is. You're going to have some kids with the advantage of having run on that course. It was a very hot day when we had our Canterbury champs, so a little bit different today. But no, it looks like they are over those first hurdles. And 158, that's Maddie Worrell near the front as well from Dyson School for Girls.
They're coming past us. We're in a caravan near the start-finish line, and we get a good look at them as they pass on through here, and you'll be watching for your own children or siblings at home. And hopefully we'll get to see as many of them as we can as they come through, as they pass through lap 1 and obviously at the conclusion.
You can see most of them are picky, jumping over the hurdle. Not many are going around at this stage, as we see some of the Canterbury runners coming down around there as well. And great to see athletes from all over the country, though. It looks like a really good mix of athletes from far north right down to the south, as they all, have been peaking for this day and training all year for it, I'm sure.
And the conditions you mentioned, certainly it's cool and there's cloud cover and there's been a slight bit of rain, but in actual fact, like very little wind as I look out to the trees there, in fact none at all, so it should actually be pretty good today. Yeah,
I think it's actually quite favourable for cross country, not too hot. You don't want it too hot for a long race anyway. And then, now that the rain stopped, and even underfoot, the rain, because of the surface here, it's quite sandy underfoot, being near the beach. So it's not really actually built up that much water underground, not too many puddles. So, so I think they can't really complain. Us track runners will probably really like this kind of course to get some good speed on it. We're just going to try and get some of the names as they're coming through, but it looks like some of the girls are breaking apart a wee bit. There's some gaps forming as they've gone round one lap of the course with another lap to go. So we're over halfway of this first race. So they're going up that pecky, that hill that I talked about earlier. It's not massive, but it is enough to make a bit of a difference to the athletes that can really work those hills and then roll the legs on the way down. And as we say to our athletes, always try and have a faster cadence going up and let the body just roll down afterwards and make the most of having a bit of a push downhill, if you like.
And spreading out well and truly now into the second lap of our first race today. The junior girls over the 3,000 metres. We're picking up the leaders here as they come through.
And that is Maddie Worrell at the front from Dyson School for Girls. Maddie is one of the contenders from last year that we knew would be really good. She was 4th in year 9, but certainly looking very strong today at the front there.
Good number of spectators along the route in terms of coaches and teachers. Angie, where's the best vantage point?
Well, there's quite a good area in the middle of the course. That's what we found at Canterbury Champs, where you can kind of jump to both sides. You can see them coming around to the circuit near the barriers, and then you can also see out the back as well. So I think most people are kind of doing that. So there's quite a few different spots you can see if you base yourself kind of in the middle, and it's a really good spectators course.
And in terms of time for this race in the 3 kilometres, what would you expect?
Going by some of these girls' PBs on the track, we've kind of got a few that are kind of low to mid 10 minutes, which is very fast on the track. So I feel like, yeah, on this kind of course, maybe just under 11 minutes would be pretty amazing, or just over 11 minutes, which would be 3:40 per K. So, yeah, so we'll see how much the barriers and the wee mountains take out of them, but they're looking pretty strong at this stage as they come up towards that last turn here.
So closing in on 10 minutes since the gun, so getting close to the finish of our first race of the day. We'll get a look at them coming into the finishing chute down in front of our vantage point here.
Looks like she's got a really big lead.
And the leader's coming round here. Maddie Worrell here.
Yeah, so that is
Maddie Worrell, and she's very comfortably in front, and she has been for a majority of this race.
What an amazing run by Maddie. She looks so strong coming down that home straight, and to take that title, it's a big win after having been a little bit further back last year. Looks like we also had Paige Dobson right up there.
And Paulina Klimova, I think, there as well.
It looks like the time's pretty quick.
And Juju Moorhead from Wellington Girls College.
714 coming through. Hannah Wade.
Zoe Hilton coming through. And Maddie Watt.
These girls will be exhausted after giving it everything. Probably want to collapse over the line and get their legs to recover and get some water into them.
Good sprint finish amongst 3 here. Every position counting, of course, for the team standings.
Samantha Parrott there coming through.
See, it's 11:38 now, so obviously these girls will all be training to get good times as well, as every position that matters. Passing other athletes down the home straight is always a nice feeling. Not so nice being passed, but as long as they give it their best shot, I'm sure they'll be pleased.
They're looking for a team's race also.
It's also very different, like for different athletes. Some athletes, you know, will be stronger on the track than they are on the cross-country course. So some of these athletes might be on the shorter distance side of things, and this could just be some good training for their track season. Other athletes really specialise over the longer cross-country.
And obviously some are aiming top 10, some are aiming top 50, and some are just happy obviously to finish as high as they possibly can.
Sylvie France from Rangiroa coming in. Abby Scott Douglas, another Christchurch girl. See that. Really working hard down that final straight. Thankfully it's not a hilly straight, so they can give it a bit of gas.
Certainly finding some good energy over the concluding stages. Hopefully you've been able to spot who you have been looking for as they come across the finish in the first of our races today. Maddie Worrell, 10:38.9 the time she's been given. Indy Williams, 10:44.2. Paulina Klimova, 10:48.9. Emma Loudon in 4th, 10:53. Abby O'Boyle listed 5th, and Juju Moorhead in 6th, ahead of Isabel Pickering. Hannah Wade, Zoe Hilton, and Madison Wass to round out the top 10 there.
That's a very strong field there of all those names. Some of them are very strong on the track. Abby O'Boyle won the national steeplechase title as well as the under 16 800 metre title earlier in March. So she's come up nicely to the longer distance. And as we say, some of those other names there that we knew at the start that were very strong runners, some of them might be a bit disappointed. I think because Madison Wass won last year, but she's still done well to get 10th. And remember, every race is different. And you know, you got next year, we're not always able to perform quite how we like every single race, but that's part of the journey of being an athlete. And you have some really great days and some not so great days. And it's about taking what you can learn from every race. And you might have been sick leading into it, may have had an injury. So we're not robots. We just need to do our absolute best each race and take something away from that.
And obviously every year getting different conditions. I remember it being very windy at Palmerston North last year. Also the year 9s coming into the juniors, so they'll get another year at junior next year. Is that right, Angie, depending on age?
So generally you find that most people only get 1 year as a junior.
Okay.
Some will get 2 depending on their birthday, because it is under 16. So obviously if you're 16 before the end of the year, then you do get 3 years as a senior, which is more common, but you definitely get some that get that lucky second year if they're born in those first few months of of the year.
Yes.
And that's number 73 coming in there from Burnside High School.
Monica Yee.
So those first girls, it's very fast over that course. So it'll be interesting to see how exact it is to the metre on the GPS data's coming through and Strava and everything. But 10:38 for Maddie Worrell was a very, very quick time that she's done, and it makes you wonder what she can run on the track. Followed by Indy Williams in 10:44 and Polina Klimova on 10:48. So those, actually 5 girls were under 11 minutes with Abby O'Boyle in 50th.
Isabella Flood finishing there from Scots College. Juju Moorhead, I see, I think she finished 6th there. I think she might have been in Kenya with the team for the World Secondary Schools Cross Championships there in May, and did very well too in the under-15s. I think she finished 22nd there. We've got a number of that team in the seniors, both girls and boys, who will be upcoming, who competed there in Nairobi, Kenya, and did extremely well. Senior boys team finishing 5th and the senior girls 6th.
Yeah, that was an amazing trip. I saw lots of the pictures coming up and I almost felt a bit jealous seeing going to wildlife parks and obviously doing a lot of good training beforehand too, I'm sure. But what an awesome opportunity for these kids to travel to a place like that and compete against the best in the world. And as you say, some really good results. And really, really cool event that they can travel with the New Zealand team and I'm sure make lifelong friendships.
Indeed. What was the most exotic location for you, cross-country wise? Was there any standout?
Well, I must admit, I'm probably not such a cross-country runner or on my tour whenua. I much prefer the track, but I still did cross-country because as an 800-metre runner, it was still going to be helpful to do that through the winter, and it would help my track season for sure. And that's what we tell some of these kids who are more on the kind of 400-800-metre side of running. But I mean, as I got older, I did like the longer stuff a bit more. But yeah, I competed just at the local races, and then the New Zealand Secondary Schools every year across the country. I think my best finish may have been to 6th in year 13, maybe top 10 most years. But it was always a bit of a battle for me, the longer events, and I'd much prefer coming out into the track and the warmth.
Well, you remain with the second fastest time of all time over the 800 metres for New Zealand women, and I think you're now sitting 7th in the 1500 metres, because of course we've had some outstanding performances from Maya Ramsden, who's now the quickest of all time in New Zealand, and Kimberly May, who I think's just edged you back to 7th recently, but I'm sure you feel good about that.
Oh, totally. It's so awesome to see, and I would just absolutely love to see those two in Paris at the Olympics coming up next month. I think, Maya Ramsden breaking that New Zealand record and just, winning that second NCAA title a week ago was just phenomenal, and really she should be, competing at the Olympics because she is world class, and I think, would have a chance of making the final there. So hopefully we see both those girls there, and she's only 0.08 of a second off that qualifier, and her points are looking very good for that.
And I'm just wondering as to how important it might be for her in 4 years' time to have the experience this time. Now, you went to Rio in 2016. I mean, how daunting was that for you? You've been to Commonwealth Games before.
I had been to Commonwealth, so that gave me a bit of the experience on that world stage and World Juniors and World Champs, but there is something still a bit bigger about the Olympics, isn't there? It's really the biggest you can get, and it was an incredible experience being there with the best in the world and wearing that New Zealand fern. But so I think if they have the experience, you say, it would make a huge difference and put her in even better stead for LA in 2028.
Going to have those results to appear for you to the left of the screen, with Maddie Worrell confirmed as the winner over Indy Williams. So Diocesan School to the 4 here, and Polina Klimova home in 3rd spot ahead of Emma Loudon. And then as we scan down, that's the top 15 there. So, as Angie mentioned, there was the top 5 down to Abio Boyle under 11 minutes in conditions that are probably conducive to pretty reasonable times today. Certainly not too hot, certainly quite still. And not a lot of repo mud about today, even though we've had a bit of rain, Angie.
No, that's right. I think it's a pretty good course for that, isn't it? Because even though, you know, I guess typical cross country does involve a bit of mud, you think it does, you know, it's more exciting when it's, you know, not quite so muddy and you can actually get in a good pace and run a bit faster as well. But, you know, still not like it's perfect. It's still got ups and downs and mounds and still, you know, a bit of obstacles out there for the athletes. So I think they've all done such a great job to run those kind of times, and it's exciting for New Zealand's future to think we have these girls coming up. And pretty amazing that 2 are from the same school. I'm sure the Sports Day Certificate Awards is going to be pretty exciting in that school. And obviously some great coaching going out of there as well.
So Diocesan School for Girls providing the first 2 home there. Maddie Worrell over Indy Williams School in Epsom, Auckland. Our second race today will be for the junior boys, and there were 133 entries from 49 schools there. Now they will run over 4,000 metres. They'll do one kilometre lap, where part of the lap is reduced, and then 2 of the full 1.5 kilometre laps for that 4 kilometre journey for the junior boys, which is next up. And
this junior boys race is going to be very exciting. I don't like to talk about outright favourites because of course it's anybody's day once you get out there, but it does have to be mentioned that Sam Ruth is probably the favourite going into this from Tauranga Boys. He's run some pretty incredible times on the track. He's also got some very good genes with both his parents being very good runners. He's run a 3:59 1500 and 8:33 3K at 14 years old, which is just phenomenal. I also think it's pretty awesome that his grandmother, Rosemary, went to the Commonwealth Games in 1970 and won the gold medal. So over the 800 metres, it's not that I'm biased to the 800, but it's pretty awesome to have that. She ran for Scotland, so hence why you might not know who she is, being from New Zealand. But yeah, really good runner, Sam Ruth, coached by Craig Kirkwood out of Tauranga. So I expect to see him doing great things out there.
And he won Year 9 last year in Palmerston North over Xavier James and Max McGregor, who will be race rivals again today.
Yeah, I saw Max McGregor run at the Canterbury Secondary Schools. He came up from Gore, his hometown, at Marawai College, and competed at Canterbury Secondary Schools, and he won then and looked very, very good. So I think he's going to be... He's not wanting to let Sam go too much. So I think he's in very good form. He broke the South Island Secondary School record at the South Island Secondary School Champs in Timaru in April, just been. So he broke, the 800 metre record there, Cooper Whiteman's record from the year before, and almost broke the 1500 record, was just off that as well. So Max McGregor, he might be on the shorter side, but I think he's also got a pretty good engine as well for the longer distances. But yeah, Xavier James, obviously second last year from Wellington College. I think he won his local Wellington Schools race just recently as well. We've also got Vaughan Murray, very good runner, Mujin Lee, Leo Demoki from Canterbury here. So we've got a lot of guys that are, very, very talented runners, and it'll be interesting over this 4K distance, obviously an extra K to what the girls just ran.
Yeah. What about Ōtautahi? He has been prominent in the South Islands.
Yes, Otto is. We actually had the pleasure of coaching him now, and he's very, very talented. And he was a bit sick for Canterbury Champs, but he's been getting better each day, and he should also be right up there as well. And we know he's run some good PBs last summer and looking very strong over the longer distances as well.
And in the South Island Champs, I see they ran 3,000 metres. Obviously, it's an extra kilometre today, and obviously it's an extra kilometre, but how much tougher is it?
Yeah, I mean, obviously some boys would prefer that, and some boys probably won't prefer that. I mean, I know myself, every kilometre longer probably gave me less chance to to do as well. But I think, yeah, for a lot of these boys, they'll be ready to. They would have been doing the long threshold work, the long intervals, getting the Ks in each week, and really be firing for for those for the extra longer distance.
So 10 past 11 is the start time for the junior boys, and the para boys go there too, and they'll be competing over the 2 kilometres. There's a good field there too. There was 15 listed in the entries, and a good number of them, as has been the case recently. Angie from Papanui High School, they obviously turn out a good team of para athletes each season, it seems.
Yeah, Papanui High School are amazing with that, I must really say, because you see it every year. They always turn up to the national events and the Canterbury South Island events, and they always have a strong team, and it's so great to see that giving those para athletes the opportunity to do that. So a big ups to, I'm not actually sure who the teacher is that organises that, but it's really making such a difference in their lives, I'm sure, and so great to see is obviously we've got some amazing para athletes on the world stage as well, and the para obviously Olympics coming up too, and Will Steedman, you know, local Canterbury legend who just won the para world title over the 400 metres, beating their favourite Australian boy just before the line. An incredible race. If you haven't seen it, I recommend watching that.
It's great.
And you know, to think, you know, he has cerebral palsy, but it hasn't held him back, and it really, he is just phenomenal, and he's running, you know, phenomenally fast times for even, you know, if you weren't para. So what an incredible athlete he is, and yeah, big ups to Will Steedman, local Christchurch guy, and it's great to see these other para athletes coming up in these younger age groups who can look up to people like him.
So if you're just joining us here in Ōtautahi, Christchurch, it's the 50th running of the New Zealand Secondary Schools Cross Country, and it's this very day back in 1974 that the first one was held at Cuthbert's Green here in Ōtautahi, Christchurch, and it was only a matter of kilometres away from where we are. We're at Ascot Kiwitu Parks, and Angie, Kiwitu Park, a place we used to know so well and hold so dearly. The running track there, of course, the 1974 Commonwealth Games and everything that came after that up until, unfortunately, 2011.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's always a bit of a soft spot, for, you know, a bit of a hard one for me to think about, because it was a huge part of my journey as well. And as I say, so much history for so many athletes from all around New Zealand, and with our historical you know, talent that we've had in New Zealand over the years. There's a lot of competitions that were held there, and as you say, the 1974 Commonwealth Games, I'm sure many people remember being there watching. I wasn't there. I wasn't quite born by then, but my parents were, and yeah, so it was really sad, obviously, in 2011 when we lost that amazing place, and just over the fields there, not far away at all from us, and that's where I first started competing as a wee 10-year-old on Saturday into club competitions, and got my first coach at 13, and just remember, you know, turning up and being nervous and being excited to go, and that's where it all kind of began for me at QE2 Stadium. So nice that we can be back close, and not quite in the same way that it was, but we obviously have Napunawai now, and that's a great facility that we've had over the last 5 years, and also seeing some incredible results on. So I think Canterbury athletes are resilient and strong to have got through that time. And
we had the New Zealand Secondary Schools Athletics Championships in December at Napunawai. So it's been a very busy time for the local organising committee to have something as big as that just a matter of months ago, and also to host this in the winter, effectively the sort of next cross-country season, if you like. Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's really good for us local Cantabrians not having to travel too much, and yeah, that was a great event held in December, wasn't it, the National Secondary Schools. Some phenomenal results, some records broken, and then of course we have the next National Secondary School track Nationals in Timaru, so again close for us. So I'm not complaining. No, indeed not. But obviously as we scan through, and there is someone from a Northland school. Obviously we've got several out of Auckland, and from the deep south as well. Southland represented here, so we are north to south in representation, and we meet here in Ōtautahi for this 50th running. Learning a few words as we go. Cross country, Oma Tua Whenua is the words for cross country that you might hear Angie and I refer to a few times today. Luckily we've got Pai Wynyard with us today. Now, I went to Kaiapoi High School a long time ago, and Pai and his twin brother Tia have come through Kaiapoi High, and we've had Pai do the opening mihi a little earlier on, and he'll join us for the senior boys race. I think he's actually just gone off to do a bit of training. So good on him. He's a very talented athlete and got some big races coming up himself, I'm sure. So we'll see back later. But yeah, he you know, he's in that gap year, but after finishing school and looking to possibly go over to America
probably possibly next year. So he'll be needing to get that training in and get ready for obviously club or provincial nationals coming up in Hawke's Bay in August. So yeah, it's great to see these guys carrying on after school and doing great things.
Pai won the 8,000 metres road junior title at the National Secondary Schools Champs, and that was last December. And his brother Tia, his twin brother, saw him in Wellington at the Nationals jump 2 metres 6. So he is
Phenomenal.
on the up. There's a sort of a clutch of high jumpers at the moment, young high jumpers sort of in and around that 2 metres, and now a couple of them just starting to push beyond that, of course, spurred by Hamish Kerr, who didn't compete at the Nationals, and Tia actually won a silver in the open men's with that 2 metres and 6. So we'll have Pai back a little later.
Some pretty good genes obviously in that house, and pretty cool that there are different events as well. So I mean,
Very different.
maybe helps them to not get too competitive with each other. I can imagine if you're the same event, it might be a bit tricky at times. But obviously, yeah, great to see. And I think Pai said he used to do a little bit of high jump as well, but obviously he certainly seems to suit the longer distance running. And as you say, won the national title, and yeah, has had some really good results over the last few years, and it's only going to get better, I'm sure. So pretty cool to see a local Kaiapoi high school there doing that.
Yeah, look, I do follow the Kaiapoi runners. There's only a couple in today, and of course, whatever secondary school you went to, I'm sure you're supporting that school today. Angie, when we worked together 2 years ago in Nelson, your life was changing very much, becoming a mother.
Yes.
And I believe number 2 on the way.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah. So Azalea is 2 in a couple of months now, so she's home with grandma today. But yeah, we've got another wee baby on the way. So I haven't actually told everyone gender yet, but yeah, we do know that. But yeah, very excited for the next one due in October, and yeah, it's been a bit rough with morning sickness, so that's tough, but it'll be worth it obviously in the end. And we're very excited to have number 2 and 2.5 year gap between, and Azalea's very excited too. So yeah, we'll be bringing them around to races, I'm sure, and Azalea's already been around a lot of New Zealand to come and see the athletes compete, which is really cool.
Well, congratulations to you and Sam on pending number 2. Obviously, that is curtailed. I think we were sort of looking at you and a bit of a comeback last time we were talking. But
Yeah.
did you do much race running between
Yeah, I did a bit. Yeah, so I did come back. Obviously, I took my time a bit because you do need to be careful postpartum and make sure you're healed and everything. So I took my time coming back, and then did compete that summer and did all right. I still managed to get top 5 in nationals in the 800 and the 1500, and some pretty strong fields there, which is great to see New Zealand running having those kind of fields. Because I remember 10 years ago, sometimes it would only be 5 of us, whereas there was even heats for 1500 last year at nationals, which was great to see. So yeah, so anyway, I did reasonably well considering, but then unfortunately got an injury, got heel bursitis, so that's actually what held me back from being able to train properly. First proper injury of my career. I've been quite lucky to have not really had anything major. I've had some niggles along the way and some ups and downs obviously, but that was the first one, so that was enough to mean I decided to think, well, I obviously can't really run at the moment, I might as well try for another baby. So we always wanted another one, but it may have been a bigger gap otherwise. So
Sure.
yeah, so really nice to have this. You know, obviously nothing beats having a child. So yeah, and then I do still hope to come back and run and compete again. And thankfully the injury has healed since I haven't been able to run on it with the morning sickness for those first few months. It's fine now. So yeah, looking forward to getting back out there and hopefully competing again post baby number 2.
Excellent. And in the meantime, you must be watching this, I'm not sure whether it's resurgence is the right word, but the current crop of athletes in general in New Zealand, obviously, as we build towards the Olympic Games, but particularly in the disciplines with which you're so interested. And the performances of runners like James Preston, for example, recently breaking the late Sir Peter Snell's 800 metre record that stood for 62 years. And Geordie Beamish in the World Indoors 1500 and what he's been able to achieve so far early on in the 3,000 metre steeplechase, and the 2 women that we mentioned earlier, Maya Ramsden and Kimberly May. That must fill you with a lot of joy.
It does. I mean, if you follow my Instagram, you'll see I'm a bit obsessed with running. I mean, obviously I love running myself, but I also love watching it, love coaching it, love being surrounded by it. I mean, Sam and I live and breathe sport, and read a lot about things and watch all the Diamond Leagues and all that too. And it's just so good for New Zealand to have that kind of calibre coming through. And I think it's probably one of the best spots that we've been in for a long time to have that many, especially in the distance. Obviously, it might be a bit biased to the distance events, but it's also going really well. I've seen the sprints with Zoe Hobbs and the throws with Tom and everybody else. So, and obviously Eliza McCartney coming back in the pole vault. Like it's just phenomenal what we have going into Paris. And yeah, it's great to see, because I think sometimes you can think, oh, little old New Zealand, like we're not like America, we don't have as much depth, but actually for a little country, I think we're doing phenomenal, and we probably are one of the top in the world for the per population. And someone like Geordie Beamish, just a Kiwi bloke, grow up north, and now he's doing, he won the world indoors, and obviously living in America, but there's people like Sam Tanner that are doing it from here as well, and that's just so great to see. And he won the 2 national cross-country titles here, so that should hopefully give those boys inspiration here that are aiming to do great things here, can also do it on the international stage.
I was talking to Pai prior to us going on air earlier, and he was talking about his want to improve his 1500, and in the category that he's in at the moment, no fewer than 7 qualified for the World Under-20 Championships by time, which is just extraordinary.
It's just ridiculous. Laugh in a good way, because it is. Because, I mean, I remember when I went to World Juniors back in 2008, 2010. 2008, I think we had four or five of us in the team. 2010, we had about 20 total, but there was certainly, I was the only, me and Anna Roach were the only 2 to qualify in the 800, but you'd be lucky to get the spots filled in each event. Whereas now, to have had 5 more boys qualified than they can actually take, it's just phenomenal. So it was hard to see, though, because of course it would have been lovely to see all 7 to go. I wish they could all go and compete. But to have that calibre is also very exciting, and it will only make all those boys better, because they'll all want to get those spots to represent New Zealand. So, and obviously they take 3 for senior events for Olympics and World Champs, but World Juniors, they do take the 2 there. So I think, it's going to be very exciting for those boys, Jamie Mora and James McClay. Actually, James McClay is coming up racing in the senior boys later, so it'll be interesting to see what kind of form he's in. He's been obviously over at the World Secondary School Cross Country, and having run that 3:46 1500 this summer, he's certainly got the speed, but I think he's also got some pretty good endurance. Also got Cooper Whiteman, who we actually coach here in Christchurch, and he also got the World Junior qualifier, but unfortunately was one of the ones that missed out on the spot. He's the kind of next runner-up to go. But yeah, so he's still very young though, and he has another World Juniors to come. Very, very talented athlete, and he will be featuring in the senior boys race. It's on the longer side for him, 6 kilometres. Obviously he's a more 800, 1500 guy, but I wouldn't count him out as well. But certainly I think Caleb Wagner and George Wiley are probably the favourites going into that, but I think James McClay and Cooper and some of the kind of track 15 specialist guys will certainly be there, and as well, and it's going to be very exciting. Same with that girls race. Obviously we have Bo Ritchie also going to World Juniors, talking about World Juniors, and the 800, and she is a phenomenal athlete with such a huge range. I mean, to be as fast as she is over the sprints, and then as good as she is right up over to the long distance events, is just phenomenal, and no wonder she runs so well over 800 metres.
Yeah, indeed. How important is the cross country to runners like that? I mean, is it just a case of kind of breaking it up and not plodding around a track all the time?
Yeah, I think it's, I mean, obviously the 800 they say is anywhere between 50 to 60% anaerobic and 40-50% aerobic, so you need that speed, but you also do need that endurance, and obviously the longer you go, the 1500, somewhere around 70% aerobic. Everyone's got different numbers on it, but either way you need the endurance, you need those Ks under the belt. I mean, some of them will get it in through cross training. Every athlete's different to what kind of training style they suit. But yeah, certainly cross country is only going to make them stronger for the track as well.
They are very grainy, and they are redoing them. But in 9th place we had Zoe Hilton.
I think we
from Ascot College.
are having our medal presentation and certificate presentation for the junior girls, and I think they go back to 10th with the certificates. So the top 10
In 7th,
here,
Isabella
working
Pickering
backwards.
from
That was Hannah
Orewa
Wade. This will be
College.
Isabella Pickering to get her certificate from Alec McNabb. Isabella from Orewa. Juju Moorhead finished 6th.
So good they go back to 10th. So important.
Well, it's such a competitive field, Angie. I mean, like to finish top 10 is a
It's
terrific
phenomenal.
achievement.
Oh, of course, it's absolutely huge. Just so great to see, because sometimes it is tough if you end up 4th or just missing out in the medals, but I think acknowledging that top 10 is really, really good. Obviously still hard for the 11th and 12th, but yeah, a good incentive for next year. For
Indeed, and there always has to be a cut-off.
Sorry. 6th place was Junior Moorhead from
Should I stand out here?
You, where were you?
It'll be one of those days.
Well done.
So sorry, my dear.
Where's the second? Second place, Gerda?
So the Polina Klimova finished 3rd from Long Bay. And there's Indy Williams.
Well done.
So Indy Williams finishing 2nd, and Maddie Worrell to receive the gold medal
We got enough energy left.
after taking out the junior girls title.
what a special moment these girls will always treasure. It's a very big achievement to have done after all her hard training.
And speaking of very big, the field for the junior boys on their
Sorry,
way,
who I
with
left out.
4 kilometres ahead of them, and they will do a 1 kilometre lap and then 2 times the 1.5 kilometre lap. There were 133 nominations from 49 different schools as they get set on their way.
Well done.
Yeah, so you can see them going up that Puki for the first time, up that wee hill that we've been talking about, if we can call it that. I know compared to the Palmerston North course, it's not much of a hill, but it still does take something. It still, you know, you still want to shorten your stride a bit and grind your way up, and you can still do some damage in that space as well. We've also got the Power 1K junior boys as well.
And I tell you that Sam, 598, Josh Smith leading early. Tauranga boys from Sam Ruth in the leading party as well, as we expected. And also prominent early number 251, Max McGregor, who finished 3rd last year behind Sam Ruth in the year 9.
Yeah, Max easy to spot because he's got the headband on, so that's always helpful. But yeah, he, as I said, he mentioned him before, coming up from Gore, very, very strong summer on the track and looking very good leading into this race. So he's going to be strong. But I do think Sam Ruth is probably pacing himself, and he might break away. But we can't count out the other boys either. You never know on the day what can happen.
Indeed. So reminding you, last year Sam Ruth led home Xavier James and Max McGregor in the year 9 boys, and they're all here for the junior, chasing the junior title this year in Ōtautahi here at Ascot and Kiwitu Parks. 2017, the last time this cross country was held in Christchurch. It was held here, and it's the 8th time overall today as we celebrate the 50th anniversary of the first running, also in Christchurch.
I think that might have been the year that Sam Tanner won. Don't quote me on that, but he won 2 titles, as we mentioned before. And has obviously gone on to run phenomenally over 1,500 metres, so that's obviously a good sign for these boys to see what they can go on and do from this event as they head round over that first hurdle.
Vaughan Murray is also prominent here early on, number 9. You mentioned him earlier, Ange, and also number 284.
I can see Sam Ruth at the front now, there from Tauranga. He looks like he's decided to go to the front. Max McGregor just in behind, but these 4 have already broken away, looking very strong. Xavier James from Wellington College as well in that bunch. Max M, Papenhuyzen High School, Leo De Monkey. Yeah, and these other boys just following suit, but those 4 seem to have broken away. See how they go on these next 2 laps.
And most of them taking the hurdles, a lot of them jumping clean, some of them the foot on the top, the odd trip and the odd hand as well, so there's plenty of different styles there.
Yes, to jump, to pique, they look like they yeah, they prefer that route that just is a faster than going all the way around, and it's not a particularly high hurdle either, so it's good to see them doing that. And yeah, these boys they've all got different techniques. Some of them got some long lopey strides. We've also got some quite fast cadence runners as well, and obviously the spikes will be making sure they don't slip over, so you've probably got your 9 or your 12 mils in.
Yeah, and that's probably a little bit of an issue today because we did have a little bit of light rain earlier this morning. It just made things just a touch slippery. If you just get into the wrong spot there coming into that hurdle.
So yeah, it's all part of it, isn't it? Having to make sure you do work that course in a way where you keep yourself standing. You don't want to be falling over. And as we see Papanui High School on the screen there, running very strong.
So Sam Ruth setting the tempo here. Daniel Wordsworth also prominent towards the front pack, and so too is Leo De Monchi.
We've got Vaughan Murray right up the front too. Vaughan Murray from Aquinas College.
And a reminder too that the para athletes are also involved here. The para boys, there were 15 of them listed. One from year 9, the others, in fact, one year 9, one junior, a couple of juniors, and some senior, predominantly from Papanui High, Onslow College, Hutt Valley High also represented from the Wellington area, Shirley boys locally, and Havelock North 2 out of Hawke's Bay for the para boys who are doing 2 kilometres.
It's so great to see those boys working hard and giving it their best shot on this national stage. Great opportunity for them. We see this following pack with Ōtautahi from Christ College, and we'll try and get some of those other numbers to you.
How difficult is it to make ground once you sort of get detached from the leading pack, Angie?
Yeah, it can be hard, especially because you are obviously still working, and it depends how much you saved yourself though. But you know, it's a long way out there for 4 kilometres to be in pain and to be pushing through when your body starts to feel heavy and your breathing kind of gets harder and that. But yeah, I'm sure these boys have learned how to pace and to know, you know, they would have got tips from their coaches to run out there today.
So still Sam Ruth currently leading, and we're 7 minutes into this 4 kilometre journey.
And Sam Ruth's a very exciting runner for New Zealand. To think that he's ran, I think, I'm not sure if you would have heard before, we said this before this race, but an 8:33 3 kilometres on the track at 14 years old this summer was just absolutely phenomenal, winning that national title, and a 3:59 1500. Obviously he won the year 9 cross-country race last year. I think he's pretty much won everything I've seen him do. With parents that were both really good runners, Jess and Ben. He's certainly got it in the genes, and his grandmother having competed at the Commonwealth Games and won that gold medal in 1974. But yeah, Sam Ruth, such a great runner to watch, so good for the sport. Coached by Craig Kirkwood there in Tauranga. Makes it look so easy, as you can see him coming around the lap again over the barrier. Nice hurdler there. He must probably be quite good at the steeplechase as well, it looks like.
Certainly going strongly and pretty comfortably, and he seems to have opened up a very big lead here as other runners come down towards us.
Yeah, so you can see them going around for that final lap. I know that Max McGregor from Core is right there. You can see his bandana.
Alex Macbeth's there as well from Wellington College. He's in 2nd spot at the moment.
Yeah, is that Xavier James up there as well?
Daniel Wordsworth also in that leading pack, along with Leo De Monchi, and also there Ōtautahi not too far away, and Kingston Ryan number 417 from Rotorua Boys High.
Yeah, so they'll be trying to get into that top 10. Obviously 10 getting the kind of recognition there is always a big achievement, and certainly in the senior grades when top 10 get to represent New Zealand. But even these junior grades, it's a pretty solid effort to get top 10, and bodes them well for the future.
And the first of our para boys has come through the finish line. And get confirmation of that shortly. Was one of the Papanui runners.
It's so great to see a local Papanui man get the national title in the para. That's very awesome. So good, congratulations to him. And we've still got Sam Roof leading out there. We've been giving updates from over the course, and sounds like he's just flying around that course.
He certainly looked to be travelling pretty easily when he came past us, and was able to probably look across and see how big a lead he had as he set off running in the opposite direction to which his rivals were running and heading towards a hurdle.
Yeah, they'll might be worried about each other now. He's got quite a big gap on them, but they'll still be fighting for those minor medals as well as that top 10 placing. As we see him again on screen, just looking so comfortable. Just the way his legs tick over and his arm carriage as well looks so relaxed in the shoulders, flying along that course. And I'm sure Craig's had some pretty good sessions for him over the last few months coming off the track season, giving him that longer work. With those other Tauranga boys up there, he's got a pretty good training squad to be a part of. With Elliot Pugh and some of the other older boys from the previous years, obviously George Wiley coming up in the senior boys soon, in that same squad.
So Sam Ruth leading in that chasing pack. We've got Vaughan Murray is still prominent. So too is Alex Macbeth. And 371 Daniel Wordsworth is handy as well. Max McGregor still in the party. So too Leo De Monkey, and number 417 Kingston Ryan out of Rotorua Boys. So 4 kilometres for the junior boys.
Yeah, so at the moment it does look like Vaughan Murray is in second place. So Vaughan Murray from Aquinas College. We know he's a very good runner. He got the bronze medal in the under-16 nationals over 800 metres, so he does have that speed as well, so he'll be good to watch in the final stages. He's coached by Ricky Gutzel, and yeah, won that junior cross-country national title. Oh, sorry, that was Max McGregor, sorry, was coached by Ricky Gutzel, who won the junior cross-country title when he was younger himself.
So Sam Ruth coming down. The round just took past 12 minutes here, Angie, and he looks comfortable at the end of a 4 kilometre cross country.
That is incredibly quick. So just over 12 minutes, that is so fast, 3-minute Ks. Looking super, 3-minute Ks around a course like that's phenomenal. I mean, it's not like it's a flat track, so we're going to be watching this amazing athlete in many years to come, I'm sure. Sam Ruth, a very exciting prospect for New Zealand running, and already doing incredible things with so much more to come.
12 minutes 16.1 the time that he has been credited with. Had good finish here between Vaughan Murray looking to hold on to second, but home second will be number 684
Wellington College,
Alex Macbeth. And then Vaughan Murray from Aquinas in third spot. 371 Daniel Wordsworth, the next one through.
That's a really massive race result for him. He's a local Christchurch man doing, yeah, that's an incredible result to be that far up.
Max McGregor next one through, and then Leo De Monkey from Cashmere. Ōtautahi coming through there, Angie.
Yes, he did an incredible race. Well done to him, especially after being sick recently. It was a very, very solid result. And number 241, that was Mujin Lee.
Yeah, from the Maclean's College, which will be very prominent in the senior races this afternoon. 27 going through Ethan Mora.
Mujin was 5th last year, so has done well to come back strong again. Yeah, Wellington College, yeah, it's about 3 of them in that top 20 there, so they're really looking strong. Obviously had some great training in the Wellington Hills, and probably find this course is a lot flatter than what they used to, so maybe gives them a bit of a boost.
Indeed. And of course, yes, don't forget the team element in here as well, I think for the 3 and 6 person teams. So it's important to finish as high as you possibly can. And this big group coming through now in around sort of the 14-minute mark to 14 and a half.
Lots of Westlake boys I see, and that reminds me of Alfie Steedman, who I would like to mention to not count him out. He's unfortunately been injured for the last year or two, but he obviously won many national titles before that, and sounds like he's on his way back, so we'll be looking forward to seeing him back out there again.
So hopefully you can spot the runner you are looking for as they go through. Kaioma, runner or athlete, Kai Whakataitai. And we get a good shot of them as they come through the finish line. Rarangi Whakamutanga is the finish line.
Yeah, all the Naikula look very tired,
Yeah.
all the runners, as they finish across the line, and some of them are collapsing off to the seats in the background. But they will be, you know, that's all worth, you know, the pain is temporary and the glory lasts forever, so they'll, they'll be able to recover now.
And just mentioning the para athletes, Louis Douglas was credited with 8:21.1 for 2 kilometres from Havelock North, so came through first of the para athletes. Then Josh Ray from Papanui High, Albert O'Brien from Onslow and Wellington, then Lee West, another from Papanui High, Cody Lamond from Papanui, Lachlan Oakes, Papanui, Toby Island, who's prominent year to year, has been over the past couple of years from Hutt Valley, Sam Churchill, Oliver King from Papanui, all finished along with Toby Patterson, who was 11:03.5.
Go Papanui, that's amazing. So many athletes doing so well there. And yeah, that Lewis Douglas and the from Havelock North running 8:21 on that course is very good. The Sam Roof's time of 12:16 there looks like he was 40 seconds ahead of second place. Alex Macbeth of Wellington College, and then Vaughan Murray was 12:59, so just sneaking under that 13 minutes, along with fourth place as well, also just getting under there. So there's only half a second between those two boys. Oh no, sorry, this might be an athlete from the power race that's come into the
It
same.
is. I've actually, yeah, it's just having a look at the results. So just forgive us with the para athletes also being included, and of course they ran 2 kilometres, so they are in amongst the results of the 4 kilometre junior boys as well. But Sam Ruth first there, as Angie mentioned, over Alex Macbeth, Vaughan Murray, Daniel Wordsworth fourth, then Max McGregor, who was placed last year in the year 9. He's finished 5th this year. Leo DeMonkey, Kingston Ryan after that from Rotorua, and then Otto Church, local boy.
So good for these boys to have each other, and obviously each centre there'll be you know, people to race against that are top in the country as well, and it makes such a difference that you have those people. And some of the athletes, you know, find it tough when they might be top in the country but also have someone in Canterbury who's just, you know, just as fast. And but those battles, we saw it with Daniel Prescott and Angus Severe over the years. They would be first and second at Canterbury champs, but often first and second in national events as well, and it's only going to make them better athletes.
So time now is just under the 18 minutes. We've just had a couple of runners come through, and more to follow. This is Samuel Broughton from Burnside High.
Burnside High, one of Christchurch's biggest high schools, or one of the country's biggest high schools, I think, over 2,000 students there.
Yeah, I think
Great
I'm
to
not
see
filming that one.
doing out running today. And number 296 coming up, all giving it their best shot.
Rory Rushton out of New Plymouth, who are well represented today.
Great to see so many travel from around the country and make the effort to be here. 7, 8, 9.
Richie Williams from Whanganui Collegiate.
A lot of these boys will be coming back in the teams events tomorrow for the relays, the 2 kilometre relays 4x2 kilometres, so they'll be recovering and hopefully not have a too late a night and not too much amazing food, obviously. You want to have some treats, but yeah, they'll be back tomorrow morning for the relays for the teams event, which is going to be very excited to see which schools are going to take out those titles.
That was Bronson Ditford finishing the para for Papanui High. Local runner from Darfield High, Finn Jennings, completing his 4-kilometre course.
Good country school from
One more para
this way.
runner coming.
Yeah, gets to run around the country roads and some hills out there too.
So we'll confirm the results for you shortly of the junior boys over the 4,000 metres. The next races on the course here in Ōtautahi this morning will be year 9s, boys and girls, which we do not cover here, but we'll bring you up to date with the results a little later on, and we will be looking forward to the senior girls and senior boys races this afternoon, which we'll have for you live, 1:10 start time for the senior girls.
As we see all the Kai Uma, the runners were looking very tired there, having some of them singlets are off and collapsed on the ground and slowly taking their shoes off, making their way to their support crews.
And so just note here with this result that the top 10 there are para boys who completed the 2-kilometre circuit. So if you look down to number 11, Sam Ruth, as the winner of the 4-kilometre junior boys with 12:16.1. Lewis Douglas from Havelock North, first home in the para over 2 kilometres with 8:21.1 over Josh Ray and Albert O'Brien. In behind Sam Ruth, we had Alex Macbeth second, Vaughan Murray third, and then down to Daniel Wordsworth with Ivan Drawbridge there, part of the para boys contingent there that ran with the juniors this morning.
Yeah, and just looking at Sam's time, it still just amazes me that he can run 3 kilometres on a cross-country course for 4K, or just over 3-minute Ks, 12:16. You know, with just over 3-minute Ks, which is just phenomenal. And I think, you know, on the track, that's about a 15-minute pace 5K, but take off the barriers and the twists and turns, and he's looking very strong to run some pretty amazing times. Obviously, getting into the 14 territory at that age is just outstanding and probably world class.
And not pushed as well.
Yeah, that's right. He made it look easy. I feel like he could go out and do another race.
Doing it under his own steam. It's the view of the finish line, Rarangi Whakamotanga. And we've had 2 of our 6 races today and 2 of the 4 that we will be bringing you on our coverage on the streaming service of Whakata Māori.
That's right, and those Year 9 races, although we aren't showing you them today, we can tell you the results afterwards, and really looking forward to some very strong athletes there, and some local girls who could be right up there too. Taylor Cox, who's actually the niece of Andrea Hewitt, very, very talented runner who's been winning a lot of the local races, but also Isabel Prescott, the sister of Daniel Prescott, who obviously speaks for itself. Daniel's a phenomenal runner, and Isabel's also seems to have that same talent. So we're lucky enough to have her in the group and doing amazing racing at that young age already. And Taylor's coached by Mark Reed here locally, but there's also some other top runners from around the country that those girls will be up against today in that Year 9 age group, young 13, 14-year-olds who have whole futures ahead of them. And I know that we've got Leah Maris from Auckland running as well, who won who's won some big titles as well. So it's going to be a very exciting race for these young ones, and we'll mention the results after.
We certainly will. And then in terms of the senior girls this afternoon, they'll be going over the 4 kilometres, and the para girls will be competing then too. In fact, I think there's one there going over the 2 kilometres. Angie, I got out the highlighter to sort of highlight the runners that I was looking forward to and probably keeping an eye on in the senior girls, and I was highlighting so many. I had to kind of stop in the end because it does look like quite a deep field.
It is a very deep field. I found the same thing when I got the list. I was like, oh my goodness, just keep highlighting. But that's a great thing, isn't it? And yeah, there's a lot of girls that did really well last year, as well as some girls that are coming up. Did well last year in the senior grade, but also some girls that are coming up from the junior grade. Some girls that are phenomenal on the track who are also good on the cross country course, and of course I guess one of the favourites would be Bo Ritchie, but there's also plenty of other fast girls who could be giving her a run for her money, with the likes of the Hellier twins, who are just phenomenal on the track. Lisa Hellier ran a 2:08 800 this summer, was only less than or half a second off the World Junior qualifier, and she's pretty young as well. She's only first year senior, and her twins Sarah is very fast too with a 2:09 PB. We've also got Poppy Healy, who was 13th last year at the New Zealand Secondary Schools in that senior grade, so she will be looking to go better than that this year, and she's just been away at the World Cross Country. Ran amazing there. She won the Wellington Cross Country recently too, so she's looking in great form. Sienna Meckley, definitely a very strong runner, coached by Neville Britton down in Queenstown, and has a 9:59 3K PB to her name, and got that third in the New Zealand Secondary School 3K final last December. So she was 15th last year at the cross country nationals, but is looking even stronger this year, so she'll be one to watch. I also think Sasha Letitia, who's coached by her dad, Jared, has a 17:19 minute 5K to her name, and she won the Auckland Secondary School Champs just recently, so she's looking very strong, and I think certainly a favourite as well. Ada Sutherland was third last year at the National Secondary School cross country in Palmy, so she has a 10:07 3K to her name and a 17:24 5K, coached by John Cope in Wellington. You'd expect to see her right up in that top bunch, as well as Sophie Robb, who was just third at the Auckland Secondary Schools recently. Her sister Scarlett Robb is also very talented. Eleanor Pugh won the Waikato Bay Girls Cross Country Senior Girl title, and Zara Promfit was second in Auckland Cross Country Secondary Schools. So we've got, as you say, sorry to just ramble on there a bit, but we've got a good, 15, 20 girls that we've been highlighting down that could really be right up there.
And there was probably about 10 of those that competed in Nairobi recently, with the man who's in the caravan at the moment, Tony Rogers, who took that team away to Nairobi, and they performed pretty well over there too, and finished 6th in the teams.
That's right, that was phenomenal, and that also included Kate Curry, who we've got from Christchurch here. She was 7th last year in the National Secondary School cross country title event, I should say, and has a 4:40 1500 to her name and a 9:58 3K. But also Bryn Gordon, don't count her out. She's a year younger, but she won the Canterbury Secondary School title a couple of weeks ago, coached by James Ansell, who also coaches James McClay, and Angus Sevier, and some other amazing talented athletes in Christchurch here, and she's run a 10:09 3K and a 4:42 1500, so I would also say she's a favourite. So we could be listing names all day, but it'll be exciting to see once they get going. I think Denica Clooney's been running very well, Elspeth McGuinness. There's a lot of girls that will be wanting to give everything out there today, and obviously these kind of opportunities are a great way for them to perform, a great place for them to perform, but also to get noticed from American universities.
Yes.
I know American universities, there might be some even tuning into this today, will be watching and kind of seeing who they can scout to join the university, and obviously an amazing opportunity for those athletes to get a free 4-year degree and experience that whole system over there and compete all around America. And you can see how it's doing so well for some of the Kiwis over there at the moment. Obviously with Maya Ramsden and Kimberly May, as we've been talking about. Also, Geordie Beamish went through the system, and obviously it works for a lot of athletes. Some athletes it doesn't work for. I myself didn't go.
Was that a conscious decision you made, Angie?
It was. I think back then, I almost feel a bit nerdy to say, but I was too much of a homebody. I think I would have missed home too much. I was a real family girl. And also I had such a great setup here in Christchurch that I felt it was going well staying here. I had my university paid for from the Prime Minister's scholarship, which if you represented New Zealand at World Juniors, you had the opportunity to get, and I think they still do. So it was kind of a very, I still was going to get uni paid for. I was still going to have opportunities to travel to races. I was racing in Europe quite a bit already at that age. So I think for me it was good to stay here, but I can certainly see the selling point of going, and for some athletes it's definitely a very good option. Maybe for some other athletes it's not, but you do have to be careful which university you pick, and that you choose a really good one with a really good coach, and also with a degree that will work over in New Zealand too. You have to be aware of that, because some of the degrees or subjects might not transfer over so well.
Yeah. So you have to do your homework.
Yes, you do.
And you've certainly done your homework on the senior women's field and the senior men's too, that we're looking forward to later on. And obviously we've been talking about Caleb Wagner this morning, but also James McClay. But again, if you pull the highlighter out, and I think there was about 11 or 12 in the field today that have been in Nairobi recently, representing New Zealand at those world secondary schools. And gee, they've it's already just sort of only just sort of entered winter, but it already has been a pretty busy cross-country season for some of these, particularly the ones that have travelled.
That's right, yeah. I mean, gosh, it's only officially started of winter a couple of weeks ago, but a lot of them have already been performing SSA overseas, and not only world secondary school cross country in Africa, but also we have had some athletes over at the Oceania Track Champ. So that's a different field completely, coming in from New Zealand track season. Some of them would have had a down week or two, and then building up for more track at Oceanias in Fiji. So there's quite a few athletes racing today that were competing at Fiji only a week ago in the 28-degree heat, coming back to the colder weather. But so that's the likes of Cooper Whiteman and some of the other boys out there. Some of them, I think the Murray brothers, so they'll be coming off that kind of track training. But I'm sure we'll still manage the longer distances as well.
Yeah. Yep. Certainly some adjustment to be done there in terms of what they've been running in and what they will compete in today in terms of the conditions. Although we have been lucky with the weather, the forecast earlier in the week for today wasn't necessarily all that good, but we have got a cloudy overcast day, a little bit of light rain this morning, which stopped prior to race 1, the junior girls, that started at 10:30, and now it seems like it will hold nicely for the remainder of the day. Temperature probably hovering under 10 degrees, but when you're out there running over this course, I think you probably appreciate that as well. So upcoming, we have in 10 minutes time, there will be 2 races that we will not be broadcasting, but we will keep you up to date with the results later on when we resume. At 10 to 12, the Year 9 girls, they're running over the 3 kilometres, as are the Year 9 boys from 12:30. And we'll be returning for the senior girls and para girls competition from 1:10, and the senior boys over the 6 kilometres, the final race of the day at 10 to 2.
Yes, it's going to be very exciting, so make sure you do come back for those races. It's really going to be very close between a lot of these athletes, I think. There's a few ultimate favourites, but there's also a lot of others who could be right up there, and you never know on the day as well. We've seen it happen many a times before, where someone who may have not been a favourite on paper comes through and wins the medal. So certainly going to be some fast racing. The 6K race, obviously, the boys, they do have a bit longer way to go than the senior girls, so they'll need to be able to hold that pace for the extra 2 kilometres. But the 4K is still good distance, and we'll have some of the 3K girls that love the 3K on the track. That will be very favourable over that distance, but also some of the 8:15 girls, and we know Bo Ritchie's got a huge range, so it's going to be exciting to see some of these other girls as well who are coming up more on the speedy end, to see what they have got in the tank, how their threshold work is paying off, their endurance training. So
yes, I think they've just called for the top 10 finishes in the junior boys, and also the para boys top 10 as well, to go to the medal ceremony. So the second medal ceremony of the day will hopefully take place very shortly. We saw the junior girls awarded with their medals, as you'd expect, gold, silver, bronze, and then the certificates back to 10th place, as Angie mentioned earlier. Top 10 in the senior boys and girls become part of a New Zealand secondary schools team, and there is a schools championship team that will be announced, I think, just in a few days' time, to go across to Australia. So there is some really incredible opportunities for young runners as we put that result up again. So again, just if you're joining us here, the top 10 there are para-athletes, and that's their time for the 2 kilometres. The winner of the 4 kilometres junior boys is number 11 listed there. That's Sam Ruth, 12:16.1. He was dominant. Alex Macbeth home second, Vaughan Murray third. Note number 14 there, Ivan Drawbridge, para-athlete from Papanui High. And then back to fourth in the junior boys, Daniel Wordsworth, followed by Max McGregor, who finished 5th this year after running 3rd last year as a year 9. So just looking to see how quickly they're gathering for the medal ceremony. I recall from past experiences, Angie, I mean, it is rather like herding cats to find the top 10. They're often various stages of warm down or possibly food and drink intake.
Yeah, probably chocolate milk and hot chocolate. Coffee cart might be quite popular right now after a race, although some people might find milk doesn't go down too well soon after. But and you know, you might have had some athletes that might have even vomited after racing, and not that I'm endorsing that, but I've had to do that a little bit over the years when I've really pushed myself, and there was nothing medically wrong, just the way my body would work when I push myself to the limit. So especially after a lactic event like a 400 and 800, maybe not so much after a cross-country race, but I'm sure that there will be some pretty tired athletes out there, so yeah, hopefully they'll start making their way over to the presentation.
I saw Sam Ruth making his way there, and he'll be atop that dais not too long from now, because I'd imagine they want to get that medal ceremony done before the Year 9 get underway. The Year 9 girls are only 5 minutes away from start time. Just a reminder there that we will not be broadcasting that race, but we'll let you know the result later on when we reconvene for the senior competitions, girls and boys.
Yeah, and just looking through that, 4th placing from Daniel Wordsworth was really a massive result from him, because he was 3rd at the Canterbury Secondary Schools, which was still really good, but to get 3rd in your province and then get 4th in your whole country is obviously a bit of a step up, and to have beaten a couple of the boys there that beat him at Canterbury's just shows that he's obviously peaked for the right time, and he had Max McGregor at Canterbury's, who obviously was running phenomenally as well today, so yeah, just great to see these boys that, you know, every race is different, and never count yourself out, and you know, I'm sure hopefully in the coming years you might be up into the middle positions. It's 4th's a bit tough to get, I know myself, and I've got 4th, but it does keep you hungry, and it keeps you training hard, and it keeps you ready to go for the future events. But yeah, great to see spectators all around the course and people that have travelled from afar, as well as a lot of contemporaries down here watching today. And it's just such a great sport to get a part of. And, you know, whether you're supporting a certain school or certain athletes, or just wanting to see New Zealand's best runners out there giving it their best shot. And, you know, to think what it can set them up for the future is pretty exciting to be a part of that.
And Angie, we're just waiting here for the awards ceremony, and we will be able to bring that to you. We'll be able to pick up the microphone as it is being done before we conclude this part of our coverage of the cross-country Ōtautahi Whenua here in Ōtautahi, Christchurch today, the 50th running of the New Zealand Secondary Schools cross-country.
I have to ask you at some point, did you ever race any of the New Zealand Secondary School cross-country events?
No, look, I'm afraid, Angie, my level, particularly at cross-country, was very much of a school-only level, and I was competitive at school, but not certainly beyond that.
That's fair enough. It's good that you still did that, though.
Oh, indeed.
Yeah.
Yes, no, I was more of a 400-metre runner, and again, at a provincial level as opposed to the national level.
And 400 is a very different event, isn't it? I think you wouldn't see probably many 400 specialists here. You might see a few that will come out and do cross country over the winter. Certainly 800 metre runners, I think, do. But I think if you're a 1-2-4 athlete, you're probably not going to get them wanting to run 6 kilometres. I know from even the sprinters joke about even the 400 being a long way. So fair enough. It's a very different event, very anaerobic versus aerobic, isn't it? And yeah, but it involves quite different training as well, and it's great to see though that mix and those athletes that are kind of in the middle that do a bit of both.
Well, these days I am actually getting ready for the Wellington Marathon next week. I'm running the 10K for the second year running it, but these days, Angie, I'm just looking to beat my age, frankly. And,
good on you.
But it's good to get out there, and it's amazing the number of people that do, and particularly running the marathon and the half marathon, which is quite a feat, which has been beyond me to date. But yeah, never say never, eh?
Oh, good on you. Are you doing much training for that 10K?
Yes, but when you say training, it's a little too intermittent. Yeah.
No, I'm sure. Yeah, it does pay off though, doesn't it? So the more runs you can get in, the better.
Unquestionably. Yes.
Sometimes it's easier said than done, especially with work and family. And I've certainly found that myself, having my wee girl now. It's not quite as easy to fit as in training as I used to, and running with the pram does, is a little bit tougher than just running on my own. But I'm grateful to have my mum and Sam be able to help out as well, so I can still get out there and run. And obviously a lot of mothers do show you can do it, as we see with Camille Buscombe, who's obviously all set for Paris Olympics next month, and looking really in phenomenal form for that. With Sienna, who are 2-year-old, and proving that mums can do it, and so many other women as well on the world stage. I mean, Faith Kipyegon's obviously a mother, and she's multiple Olympic and world champion, and Shelley Ann Fraser-Price, and I can list heaps of them that are coming back and running amazing after having children.
Yeah, it's incredible. And so many good events out there I'm discovering as well, just being a weekend plotter, that there's a lot of great events just in my local area, which is Wellington these days, but all around the country for you to be able to get involved with, and you don't have to have been a runner of any particular note in the past.
So we just have the Year 9 girls currently just gone off, but obviously we're not going to be airing that, but we will update you on the results later on. So that will be exciting to see who how they position in that Year 9 girls over that 3-kilometre course.
We are just hanging on for the medal ceremony, but I'm not quite sure how close to that they are. I can see Sam Ruth amongst some others over there, but they may still be waiting for others to gather for that, and whether they will do that during this race now. So if we do get that awards ceremony underway, we'll let you know and get you to that as quickly as we can.
So expecting the Year 9 girls, Leah Maris from Pakaronga College, to be one of the favourites. She won the Auckland Secondary School Year 9 race not long ago, so she's looking very strong. And as I mentioned, a couple of the local girls, Taylor Cox, Isabel Prescott, but I'm sure we've also got girls from other parts of the country as well. It looked like at the moment they have some leaders that have taken a bit of a break away from the rest of the field.
So Year 9 girls currently out on the course. Year 9 boys will follow. Our senior girls race to start at 1:10 this afternoon, and the senior boys is scheduled for 1:50. Everything running to time to date, other than possibly the second medal ceremony, which should hopefully be upon us shortly. Just while we're awaiting that, Angie, obviously an enormous year in athletics, with it being Olympic year, and also the accessibility to coverage these days seems to be pretty good, with Diamond League meetings being screened as well, and you can pretty much find anything online these days amongst the international competitions as well.
That's right, it's so good, isn't it? TVNZ have been showing the Diamond League, so free to air for all people, and so I'm just seeing some of the senior girls walk past. I can see Bo Ritchie and Sasha Letitia getting ready to go. Is it Elspeth McGuinness as well? So some of these girls will be warming up soon.
Okay, now seems like the medal ceremony is about to get underway, so let's take you to that. The medal ceremony for the junior boys and para boys.
And these medals will be presented by the President of the New Zealand Secondary Schools Association, which is Tony Rogers. In 10th place, we have Oliver Foley. Oliver is from Francis Douglas Memorial College. In 9th place, we have Mujin Lee from Queen's College.
Lee. Can we up there?
In 8th place, we have Otto Church from Christ College.
Otto Church, great Christchurch athlete.
In 7th place, we have Kingston Ryan from Rotorua Boys High School.
Kingston Ryan from Rotorua.
In 6th place, we have Leo DeMonchi from Cashmere High School.
Leo DeMonchi, Cashmere High School. Not sure if they can hear the background.
I think we are getting the
In
the
5th place, we
microphone
have
live
Max
to
McGregor from Maruawai College.
What a great run by Max McGregor.
In 4th place, Daniel Wordsworth from Papanui High School. In bronze medal position, we have Vaughan Murray from Aquinas College.
First of the medalists, Vaughan Murray.
Winning the silver medal, we have Alex McHead from Wellington College. And our gold medal winner in a time of 12:16 was Sam Ruth from Tauranga Boys College.
Alex Macbeth looking very happy there, as he deserves to be. And Sam Roof, what a phenomenal run that was. Phenomenal year that he's been having.
And the medal presented by Tony Rogers. He's the president of the New Zealand Secondary Schools Athletics Association, very prominent, of course, too, in Wellington athletics. Nationally, obviously, with the New Zealand Secondary Schools, and for those of you old enough like me who would have marvelled at 1984 Olympic Games in LA when Tony Rogers was able to make the final of the 1500 metres, and a stellar field it was, and he finished 9th in that final. And Tony's given back to athletics throughout his working life.
Tony is such a legend of the sport, isn't he? And he does so much with, you know, national secondary school events, other secondary school events, and then of course the Capital Classic that's on every summer in Wellington, and such a great meet with athletes coming from all around the world actually, as well as New Zealand, to compete. So he's been such an amazing part of the sport for so many years, and a big part of my career as well. So yeah, big thanks to Tony Rogers for that, and for all you're doing with all these athletes who just have these amazing opportunities because of you, and all the other hard-working people behind the scenes. And obviously Tony Rogers was over at the World Secondary School cross country with them in Africa not long ago, and I had an amazing trip with those athletes.
Quite a feat of organisation, I think, those trips, especially to that part of the world, Angie. I think it does require an experienced head.
Yes, I think so. Oh my goodness. I mean, I know just even with the amount of organising we do for our coaching, and we had a few training camps up in Hamner Springs and down in Wanaka and things, and even that is pretty busy. So I can only imagine going to Africa probably entails a lot more.
And a number of those athletes that went in that team with Tony will be on show and running very shortly here at the New Zealand Secondary Schools cross country for 2024, with the senior girls underway at 1:10 and the senior boys.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have another short announcement, but a very important one because it's one that supports our sponsors. With me here today, we've got Andrew and Fiona from Celtics and Dyers Road, not far away from here. So if you're going home and need some fuel and you're going in that direction, if you go there and you also pick up a voucher from the merchandise store, you can perhaps get a free hot drink from the Celtics and Dyers Road. Caltex is one of our proud supporters of New Zealand secondary school sport, and we're privileged to have Fiona and Andrew here this afternoon to do a presentation for the Caltex Good Sports Award. Many of you have been plugging the social media pages of Facebook, nominating someone who is a really good sport, and so I'm going to announce that the Good Sport Award from Caltex this year goes to Perry Cunningham, who's supported the King's College training program for a long time. Kerry's probably well known by many of us for a young lady called Kim, who set most of the New Zealand distance records and came through the cross-country grades, and he's just seeing some of those being erased by Maya Ramsden in the last few months. So, Kerry, congratulations, and I'll get Fiona to hand over the award.
Massive congratulations to Perry Cunningham there on that award. An incredible coach out of King's College, and I know myself personally, he's been a big part of my coaching career, my husband in my career.
Thanks very much, everyone.
So supportive of all his athletes, but also of other coaches. I've learned a lot from him over the last 5 years, and we have chats on the phone, and he's willing to share training ideas and everything with me, and I'm so grateful. Obviously, he's a bit older than me, so he's been doing this a bit longer, and such a legend of the sport, and has had so much success. Obviously, James Harding is one of his, one of many incredible athletes that he's coached, who made the World Junior Final in the 800 at the World Junior Champs and is now in America. But also, many other athletes. Obviously, James Ford is probably his one of his other top ones coming through now, and won many national titles and has a 1:49 800 to his name, and some New Zealand records. So yeah, so great to see Perry getting that award there.
Terrific to see Perry recognised. Well, that will conclude the first part of our coverage this morning, which is ticking up to midday here. Have just gone there. The Year 9 races taking place. The girls now, the boys to follow, and we will give you the results when we reconvene in about an hour's time and get ready for the senior girls and senior boys races this afternoon. So for now, Mark Rosanowski and Angie Petty will say haere, but catch you again very soon in 1 hour's time.
At Apollo Projects, we create better outcomes because we never make any assumptions. Like this multinational company's cold store build contract. All proposals were submitted, but the costs were just too high. So the client chose Apollo to help. We sat down with the client and their consultant and had a think. We challenged them on key points. If we closed up the aisle widths to what was required by the forklifts being used and removed the ceiling to make it the roof, we'd save on materials while lowering the building. With the building now the right height and size, the walls can move away from the boundary, removing the firewall requirement, leading to a 20% reduction in cost and now coming in on budget. Now the building is right-sized, the total cost of ownership is lower, it's safer to build and maintain, and it's on budget. Apollo Projects. No assumptions, better outcomes.
Global warming is incredibly serious. We need to cut emissions, but we need to also absorb carbon out of the atmosphere. Growing trees is the only tool we have in the toolbox for taking carbon out of the atmosphere that we can do at scale. Pinus radiata takes carbon out of the atmosphere at about 5 to 10 times the rate of native planting. And so what New Zealand Carbon Farming are doing is planting the Pinus radiata to absorb the carbon, and then they're transitioning that forest into native forest so that we get the biodiversity benefit.
Okay, guys, twice the cell. Go past the cell, go to cell. Ladies and gentlemen,
this isn't about what we wore back in the day.
We're going to go now. Going once, going twice. No more offers. Sold!
It's about being trusted to get a better result for our clients since 1973.
Sport is about more than just a game. It's about going from teammates to best mates. It's the high fives and helping hands. That's why Caltex is proud to help fuel school sports.
At Apollo Projects, we create better outcomes because we never make any assumptions. Like this sports facility. The client sent out their brief. And when it came to the 4 submissions, we impressed the client with a proposal that went over and above. Because we'd done things differently. we'd pulled together a team of experts, looked around the world for inspiration, and exceeded the client brief. We even brought it in on budget by reducing fees and prioritising function over form. At Apollo, we're more innovative, create specialist project teams, deliver on our promises, and build to the budget. Apollo Projects. No assumptions, better outcomes.
The forest should never have been taken off this steep hill country that's eroding, and it makes absolute sense to afforest those hills. What we're doing here is using the exotics to help that process get established. We're looking at a managed transition process where those pines are progressively thinned as the native understory establishes. We're trying to do several things here. Soak up carbon, establish native forest, and we're trying to improve biodiversity. You're achieving an awful lot with one program of activity.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
This isn't about long-distance calling, technology, or living overseas.
Do I have one more bid? Thank you.
We're going to go once. We're going twice.
And we are sold to the Kiwi phone bidder from Manchester.
It's about Bailey's finding buyers that others can't.
Funding is a real challenge. We know that a lot of schools face that ongoing, and the reality is if you go to a lower decile school in New Zealand, you are less likely to be able to afford to participate in sport.
Obviously, having come through it myself with kids and being one of those kids myself who played sport, I know how much it defined who I was. And now being able to go, I can't fix it all, but we can help and try and give to those people who are going through a tough time. It's a real privilege, but you know, for us, we want to see others getting involved in this. This is not a selfish thing for Apollo. This is about how can we get, whether it's construction or other businesses, to get involved in this.
There's a lot of things that kids miss out on, and so to have businesses step up and want to be involved and to help is a game changer for schools. It really is.
Hey. Sport is about more than just the game. It's about going from teammates to best mates. It's the high fives and helping hands. It's learning when to back yourself or back your buddies. It's actually being excited to get out of bed early on a Saturday. Sport is about more than just the game. That's why Caltex is proud to help fuel school sports.
I'm Jason Bill, and we're farm around the Mid-North. We took a review of our business a couple of years ago, sort of identified challenges that we had. One was profitability, and we'd noticed on our steep hill country we're getting more and more erosion. We looked around to diversify, looked at forestry to plant on our steeper country. For us, it really addressed those concerns. By doing the forest farm model, we feel like we're getting the best of both worlds. And I'm really excited, and I really do believe in this model. I think it's the way of the future.
At Apollo Projects, we create better outcomes because we never make any assumptions. Like at this dairy dryer. The cladding on the building that houses the dairy dryer needed to be replaced. So they called us up. First, we inspected the cladding. The cost implications of shutting the dryer down were huge, particularly from the loss of production, which is much higher than the actual reclad costs. So we came together as a team. We said, why don't we replace the cladding while the dryer is still operational? No one had ever done that before, which meant working with the client on hygiene requirements. We wrapped the dryer in 2 layers to create a hygiene envelope, while the old panels were removed and the new ones installed, all while the dryer continued to work. By thinking outside the square and working as a team, the project was completed with no disruption to production, and it was a world first. Apollo Projects. No assumptions, better outcomes.
This is an opportunity that we can't pass on.
No mai haere mai. Welcome back into Ōtautahi, Christchurch for the 50th anniversary running of the New Zealand Secondary Schools Cross Country 50 years ago to this day. The first one was held at Cuthbert's Green, only a matter of kilometres from here, and this is the 8th occasion that this particular event has been held in Ōtautahi, Christchurch, and the second at this venue, the last being at 2017. Ko Mark Rosanoski aho, and with me is Angie Petty as we look forward, Angie, to this afternoon. We've been set up beautifully in the morning with the juniors racing during the lunch break, the Year 9s, boys and girls, and now the senior girls about to get underway and the senior boys this afternoon as the sunshine greets us as well.
Kia ora. Yes, it is lovely to see the sun out here for this Ōtautahi, the cross country that we have today. Very excited for the senior girls race. It's going to be a very exciting race with so many top athletes, as we were talking about earlier. There are, there's obviously a few of the favourites, but there's also a huge depth within that goes right down. I mean, we were highlighting about 20 different names that could be right up there, so it's going to be a very exciting race as they head off for that 4K cross country today.
Indeed. Now you see at the bottom right hand side of your screen, that is the route that they will be taking for the 4 kilometres. They do the 1 kilometre lap and 2 1.5 kilometre laps. Very wide front straight for the start, the Kukiri sprint, and watching the Year 9s during the lunch break, Angie, they really were setting off at some pace.
Yeah, the Nākai Uma, the runners were certainly setting off fast, and we've seen so much grit out there today. You know, we've seen athletes crossing the line and almost collapsing because they've given it so much, and that's great to see that they've been training so hard for this big race, and it's leaving it all out there. And thankfully conditions have been pretty favourable today, really, and we've seen some great hurdling and great running up the hills, the Tupuki, and Tupuki, and it's really exciting for these next races with the likes of Bo Ritchie and Ava Sutherland and Sienna Mackley, and a whole lot of fast girls running today.
Indeed, yes, Bo Ritchie second last year behind Catherine Lund, and Ava Sutherland third, so Bo and Ava back this year, but among a host of chances here in the senior girls. The official start time for this is 1:10, so about just over a minute away before they set off on their 4 kilometre journey. Angie, you highlighted obviously Bo and Ava there earlier today. You talked about a whole number of runners that we could watch here, and about 10 of whom have been in Kenya, Nairobi, for the World Secondary Schools Cross Country.
Yes, that's correct. They had some great results over there, and it was amazing to see such a strong contingent with that team medal as well, and the girls just and the boys, performing so well on the international circuit and having the experience of racing in Kenya. But I think it's going to be pretty hard to beat some of those favourites today, like Bo Ritchie, who does have such an amazing spread of distance, right from the sprints right up to the longer stuff, the longer cross country races. She is an absolute beast on the track. Has run that 2:06 800 metres to qualify for the World Juniors. So she goes in as a clear favourite, with second at the New Zealand Secondary Schools last year behind Catherine Lund, who won that title. But we do have, as I say, a lot of depth as well, and it could be anybody out there today.
As they get underway, Sienna Mackley won the South Island Championship recently at Timaru at the end of last month. That was over the 3,000. She also competed in Nairobi. She was 29th there in the second Kiwi home. As they come down past the big crowd here that is gathered.
Yeah, Finn, we'll start getting some names to you as they come past, and you see a range of different colour spikes, lots of bright colours out there with the Nike pinks and oranges, and as the girls get out hard and position themselves as they come up to that first corner where it starts to tighten up a bit on the course, and some twists and turns as they head for that first Tupuki, that hill.
And as being one of the leading runners, you just don't want to be in the bunch here, Angie. Early on, you don't want to be held up at all. You need to settle into your rhythm.
That's right, yeah. I mean, we were just talking to some of our athletes that are in this race now, and you want to get out decent, but you do want to be saving yourself as well, because it is a long way to go. About 14 minutes probably for the front girls in this race. So you want to be able to last the distance and save yourself something. Obviously, they've got that 1K lap first, and then they've got the 2 1.5K laps. So it's about pace judgment as well, and keeping that engine going.
2 hurdles on the lap. One of them's just outside our broadcasting position here. I've seen probably every manner of taking the hurdle, and also some runners electing to go around the hurdle. Angie, but your preference would be to clear it clean?
Yes, I think so. I mean, I'm no hurdler. I mean, I've never actually done the hurdles on the track, but I don't think this hurdle's too high, and I have seen there's been a lot of athletes that have lost a wee bit of ground if they go around, so it does take a bit more time, so it is helpful to go over, even if you have to put a foot on it or put a hand on it. Those athletes seem to be getting a benefit from doing that.
Angie, there are Brisbane runners here today, and a couple of them are prominent here early on. Number 56, Gemma Wilson, and 55, Romy Vickers from Brisbane Athletics to the fore here early on.
Yeah, well, it mixes things up a bit as well, doesn't it? Having the international girls come across, and I'm not sure if the Kiwis would be too happy about that, but it is great to see that will really push those girls as well, and maybe change things up a wee bit on the tactics of today's race.
Ava Sutherland and Bo Ritchie are prominent as expected, and also in that leading bunch early, Bryn Gordon, who you mentioned early on as well. She finished third in the junior girls a couple of years ago when I went to Nelson.
Yes, that's right. She won the Canterbury Secondary School cross-country title ahead of Kate Curry, who went to the World Secondary School cross-country champs in Kenya. So Bryn is in an amazing form. So is Kate, but Bryn did win that race a couple of weeks ago on the same course. So she's experienced around here, and she'll know all the turns and twists and the wee mounds that they go over, and she'll be looking for a top finish today. So great to see Bryn Gordon out of Cashmere High School up there, and coached by James Ansell. She's been running amazing over the years, and just seeing her get better and better each year. Obviously with a few ups and downs along the way, like we all have, but certainly a strong runner.
So it's the early stages of the senior girls competition over 4 kilometres this afternoon, with a 1 kilometre first lap and then 2 of the full 1.5 kilometres. There are 5 Brisbane athletes in this field, and 2 of them prominent early, along with the leading Kiwis. The Brisbaneites, if they do make the podium, will get a visitors medal, and the first 3 New Zealanders home will take the medals.
Yeah, and you can see Sasha Letitia up the front there as well. She's been having a phenomenal season, but at the moment it is Bryn Gordon and Cashmere leading that pack. She's a very gutsy runner, and I often do see her lead, but she's also strong in the closing stages. So we've got Bo Ritchie in second place at the moment. Sasha Letitia's up in 4th. We've got Kate Curry right there, Poppy Healy, very strong pack, all in close together, no big breakaways yet. Amelia Henstock there too from Christchurch. Lily is right there as well from Villa Maria, Lily Alexander, so very strong. We've got some of them on 800 metre runners and sprinter runners that are a bit further back possibly at the moment, but do watch them in the closing stages.
A few opting to run round the hurdle here. Might be finding it just a touch slippery in there after that very light rain we had earlier on. Most of the field, though, electing to go over the hurdle.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see the likes of Bo Ritchie's on track for World Juniors in August. So she in South America and Peru. So she will be obviously building for that, but having a good winter, and I'm sure her coach Angela Rusk will have it all planned out, and this will probably be a pivotal part of her build up, and obviously a really point in its own, a really big event in its own right.
Yeah, certainly. Poppy Healy, you mentioned there, she was one of the runners at the World Cross Country in the under-18s, and young Poppy, she finished 39th and the 6th Kiwi overall there. Good to see her prominent early.
Yeah, Poppy Healy was 13th last year in the senior girls race in Humberston North, and obviously looking even stronger this year. She's a very, very good 800 metre runner with a 2:10 PB, but she obviously does have that endurance as well.
So Sasha Letica and Bo Ritchie up front, along with Annabelle Tux there as well in the leading group, and Ava Sutherland too, who we saw go past us in our 3rd spot at the time. So the first 4 appear to be Sasha Letica, Bo Ritchie, Annabelle Tuck and Ava Sutherland. Yeah,
Sasha Letitia has come off a great summer, and she's run a 17:19 5K, and She was only 27th last year, but she is in fine form now and looking a lot stronger than she was last year. She won the Auckland Secondary School Cross Country Champs not long ago, coached by her father, who was a very good runner. I had a good chat with him at the New Zealand up and coming training camp that they have in Hamner Springs last October. So she obviously has a lot of great wisdom coming from her father. And as does, I'm sure, all these other athletes. Ada Sutherland, coached by John Cope out of Wellington. She was third last year. She'll be wanting to get another medal.
So the field for the senior women continue into their race. Can tell you just back the Year 9 boys winner was Ronan Dickens, and we'll touch on that again a little bit later. And Leah Murray was the Year 9 girls winner. We might look at some of those results in between the senior girls and senior boys race.
And that's still Sasha Letitia leading at the moment, looking very strong. She really has stepped up another level this year, and it's been great to see. I know that she does, sensible training. She doesn't do any crazy mileage or anything too nuts, but just been putting in the work, and is looking very strong after having her trip away in Kenya, as we've just mentioned.
Scarlett Robb also in that leading pack now as well, and it's no surprise there.
There's Sophie Robb there too, her sister. They know there's the two of them that are both very fast, so yes. I'm sure there's a bit of competitive rivalry between those sisters in that household.
Indeed. And Sienna Mackley also in that leading group as well. Just looking back to last year, Scarlett Robb was second in the junior girls behind Imogen Barlow, and she'd been second behind Imogen as well in the Year 9 the year before.
Yeah, and Sienna Mackley, as you just mentioned, is a very good runner with a 9:59 3K on the track to her name. So she has broken that 10-minute barrier and does have that endurance as well. Coached by Neville Britton out in Queenstown there. She was 15th last year, but she's really stepped up this year to be one of the favourites. You can see all the girls giving it all they've got, and obviously about just after the middle of the race at the moment with another lap after this one, and they'll be probably hurting a bit by now. The breathing will be getting heavy, but they'll be giving it all they've got. Every position counts, and they'll just be looking at trying to pip off as many athletes as they can.
We saw a couple of fairly dominant winners earlier today, Angie, but these senior competitions look to be pretty close.
Yeah, that's right. It's that pack is still very much together with Sasha and Bo right there. We'll get some of the other names too, but yeah, I think Sasha's looking very strong. She doesn't mind being at the front. There's no wind anyway, so it's not like she's having to worry about that. And that's one of the Hellier sisters. There might be Lisa Hellier, I think, there, at number 336. As I say, she's got a 2:08.800 to her name, but obviously has that endurance. Sienna Mackley right up there as well. So they come over that hurdle. Kate Curry.
So effectively a field or a bunch of 6 now, Angie, that seem to have separated away from the 7th runner, who was one of the Brisbane visitors.
Yeah, that's right. So those Australian girls will be wanting to, they've come all this way, they'll be wanting to have a decent, strong run out there today. But the Kiwi girls are looking pretty strong at the moment.
Just an update of the Year 9 result.
And good to see many of the girls picky jumping over the hurdle there. Obviously trying to get every second that they can. So we see some of the Canterbury girls come round. But great to see a real mix of athletes from all over New Zealand. Good spread of schools, and obviously some of them will be working hard for their school to get points for the team race as well.
Yes, the team race important, of course. 127 athletes were registered to line up from 56 different schools, and also a para-athlete as well out on the course.
That's right, as we see Kate Curry, who's a very strong 400 metre on the track. Good to see her out here doing the longer distances, which will only help her shoulder work, I'm sure. As I said before, some of these athletes will be using the winter as training for the summer, and some of them will be really focused on the winter as itself. So great to see a whole mix of different kind of goals and different talents within different distances as well.
Got a shot of the leaders there, just going back a few seconds, and Lisa Hellier looked to be trying to break that pack up if she could.
Yeah, we know Lisa Hellier is very strong. I mean, a 208 at that age is world class, and only second off that, or half a second off that World Junior qualifier, as I talked about before. I was actually under the old Junior World qualifier. When I went, it was 209,
right.
And I ran a 208 to qualify as a 16-year-old. So it's a bit tough that they've made it a second quicker.
Yeah.
I went faster by the next World Juniors, but anyway, so you know she is a very, very strong runner. I mean, amazing that she's got the endurance to be able to go over the longer distances as well. And I'm sure having her sister as a training partner must really help.
Oh, without doubt.
I know they're coached by their father up there in Auckland, so very good to see. Yeah, it looks like she's still at the front at the moment. Lisa pulling a bit of a gap on Bo, although Bo is still
hanging in there.
And that's Sienna Mackley possibly in third.
Yep, and Scarlett Robb looking to be fourth there, but Lisa and Bo looking to put a break on the opposition.
Yeah, Scarlett's very good because she's really young as well, being only just coming up from the junior grade after having got that second last year in Palmerston North in the junior grade. First year as a senior is always a bit tough as a year 11, but looking very strong. So every athlete giving it their best as we see further back in the field, and there's Elspeth McGuinness there, and we just cut again, but yeah, great to see that you know, every athlete is giving it their best, because you know we can't all win, but as long as we're giving it your best, then there's always something to take from it. And we all have our races as well. Sometimes it's our day, sometimes it's not so much our day, but we take the ups and downs of the sport, and it's only going to make you stronger.
And certainly we've seen some really big finishes even back in the pack, where everyone's clawing for every possible spot to improve their individual spot, or indeed, of course, help their team.
Yeah, and great to see some of these athletes might be more into other sports, but they do this as something a bit different, you know, and there might be football players and netball players, and you know, but have come along and given it their best today, which is also great to see.
Now they're coming close to the final straight here, and we'll pick them up shortly. And I think that Bo Ritchie might have taken the lead off Lisa Hellier and Scarlett Robb, giving chase to them.
Oh, it's exciting as we're coming towards that home straight.
Bryn Gordon is looking to progress as well, but we should be able to pick them up shortly in the home straight here. Bo Ritchie is leading them down.
Oh, and Bo Ritchie, oh my goodness, after second last year, she looks like she's going to take that national title, as she has done with many other titles on the track and now on the cross country course.
Lisa Hellier will be second. Third is a great go. Scarlett Robb might come through for that, and does.
Wow, incredible. That's incredible by Lisa, particularly being so young. This is only her first year senior.
And Sienna Mackley in fourth spot.
And there's Sasha Letitia, early leader there. Bryn Gordon coming across the line after her gutsy leading earlier in the race, still managed to hold on to an awesome top 10 finish. Kate Curry finishing now from Christchurch Girls.
Second of the Hellier sisters through there. And Ava Sutherland is going to click into 10th, which is an important position for the seniors.
Very strong running. Yeah, that top 10 will enable them to get selected for that New Zealand team to go to Australia.
Number 160 crossing now.
And there's Elspeth McGuinness crossing over 199 Wellington Girls.
And some great bunch finishes. Things get tight there towards the line.
That's right, there's not much in it between some of these placings.
It was Annabelle Tuck going through, who had been prominent early on. One of our Brisbane runners coming through, Matilda Lee. Finding things a bit cooler here, I imagine.
There's Amelia Henstock finishing, a great 800 metre athlete who has got so much speed, but this endurance will be helping her. There's Lily Alexander from Villa Maria coming in. Great running by her. She's a rower who's been doing phenomenal on running and improving a lot very quickly. All these girls having worked so hard, good on them.
Strong finish from Nina Chalmers there.
You can see some of them even in crop tops. Obviously it is warming up a wee bit. Get pretty hot out there. We've got Samantha Lascelles coming through, another very strong 800 metre runner. This is on the long side for her, but great strong work out there over 4K. Charlotte Charles, an incredible triathlete. Hannah Hughes from St Andrews, really good running. Alyssa Buchan, giving it all she can, driving those arms. Talia Pello, sorry we're not getting all the names. Oh, there's Kate Borton, 400 metre runner. And there's Zara Ford coming in, I think it is, James Ford's sister. Prefers the shorter distances, but good to see her out there giving it a go over the longer stuff as well.
And some strong finishes. Look over the shoulder to make sure there's no one coming. Well over 100 athletes in this category. You'll be picking up who you're looking for. Number 454 home there, Peter Smith.
That time by Bo Ritchie of 14:08 was incredible. That's a very fast time over that distance on that course. She won by 4 seconds ahead of Lisa Hellier. And then we had Scarlett Robb in third place, as we see number 783 coming in.
There's Maya Lupton from Whanganui Collegiate, typically prominent here this year. So the top 10 we named in the New Zealand secondary schools cross-country team. And the same will apply for the senior boys.
Yeah, that's a great trip for those athletes to be able to head over to Australia and compete as a New Zealand team and have the experience of competing internationally and making, friends in the team as well.
332 coming through there, which is Mania Sheridan from Ngātawa Diocesan School, just outside of Martin, near Whanganui. 305 Petra Hoffmans from New Plymouth Girls. So it's a particularly strong top 10 there, Angie, as we'd expect with the field that we had. Should be quite some team put together for the senior girls.
Oh, for sure, yeah. And we had a lot of the names that we thought of, we had mentioned before the race that did very well, but we also had a few that came up that maybe weren't expected, so that's also very exciting to see. And, a few changes in position that may have been predicted from many around New Zealand, but Bo Ritchie taking that title was probably one of the favourites, obviously. She has just been running phenomenally for years, right through from winning in year 9 to obviously winning again today as a year 12. So very, very talented athlete and such a huge range within her, being able to run fast over every distance she does. So I'm really excited to see how she goes at World Juniors coming up in Peru.
Every time I see her, Angie, I wonder, what ultimately will be her best distance, and do you have a thought around that?
Well, I mean, I might be biased being an 800 metre runner, but I think she definitely is very, very strong over 800. And because she does have that speed, I think she's run a 26 low 200 already, and but she also has that endurance. Obviously, she that's what you need for an 800. You do need both. So I think that really suits her.
So there we confirm Bo Ritchie as the winner, 14:08.7 over Lisa Hellier, who certainly took it to them. 14:12.7. Scarlett Robb coming through in a sprint finish for third. 14:16 ahead of Sienna Mackley. 14:17.3. And Sasha Letica rounding out the top 5. Coco Fiddler finished 6th ahead of Bryn Gordon. Coco was one of the Brisbane athletes, 5 Brisbane athletes in the field. Asher Edwards, 14:35.8. Kate Curry, 14:40.9. Gemma Wilson at 14:42, another of the Brisbane athletes, and that means that Sarah Hellier, who was 11th, and Poppy Healy, who was 12th, will make the top 10 of the New Zealanders if we take the Brisbane runners out there. And Ava Sutherland was the next one in, 13th overall, but 11th Kiwi.
Yeah, and that's always a tough position, just missing out. But I'm sure Ava Sutherland will be aware that sport is a bit up and down, and she may have wanted a bit more today, but we don't know her lead in. She could have had a niggle or a sickness or whatever. But even sometimes when you are in amazing shape, sometimes you just don't quite have your best day out there. And I'm sure she's got many big things ahead of her, and she's a phenomenal talent. We've seen her perform many a times really, really well on the track and on the cross country. So, it's important for these athletes to not be too hard on themselves. And
so Bo Ritchie from St Peter's School, it's prominent school in Cambridge that continues to tune out some fine athletes and sports people, and Bo Ritchie takes the senior women's or senior girls title this afternoon here at the 50th New Zealand Secondary Schools Cross Country here in Ōtautahi, Christchurch. Quick break. On the other side, we'll get ready for the final race of the day, and that will be the senior boys.
I'm Trevor Johnson, and I'm a sheep and beef farmer from the Forgotten World Highway. Some of the country we bought was quite steep and difficult. We have pushed those blocks to pine trees. 1,000 hectares into forest and 7,000 hectares will stay in grazing. To me, it's just the best use of land. If you've got land that is not so productive, it's a marvellous way of increasing your income.
And go! Just fill up at a participating Caltex, stack your pump discounts, and you could collect more savings on your next visit. Oh, there's another one. Getting quite good at this. Filling and saving feels good.
At Apollo Projects, we create better outcomes because we never make any assumptions. Like this privately owned swimming centre that was still in the planning stages. The owner spent 8 years trying to make the project viable, but the design was continually over budget, a design he was paying for. So he called Apollo to help, because he trusted us to deliver. We got to know the critical success factors of the business. The current building plans had lost sight of what was needed. We took a fresh approach, starting with the most important aspect of the facility, the water bodies. Then balanced the critical success factors of function, form, and cost to bring the designs in on budget. Finally, we could deliver the owner the new facility he needed. At Apollo, we understand your key success factors, put function over form if required, deliver what is needed at the highest quality, have lower operating costs, and always have very happy clients. Like this one, who was pretty stoked. Apollo Projects. No assumptions, better outcomes. At Apollo Projects, we create better outcomes because we never make any assumptions. Take this for example. This wine turret doesn't look very well designed. So we called the tank manufacturer to check. We asked, why is the turret away from the side of the tank? They said, because it's always been that way. So we had to think. What if the turret was next to the catwalk? Sounds good. So that's what we did. Now the wine turret is better designed, better value, easier to use, and safer. No, I think that deserves a toast. Apollo Projects. No assumptions, better outcomes.
When you've grown up in a place like this, it never leaves you.
Atimu te tai kapari te tai, tēnei te tai e huri.
Moko was the way of saying I'm here and I'm beautiful.
It's all connected in one place.
So stunning.
Bro, get out of here.
Watch everything for Kātamā. Your favourite shows. Wherever you are, join in more places than ever.
Join us for a great time.
TikTok, Instagram, Facebook and YouTube with Māori Active.
Well, we're more than just rugby players. We've got heaps of skills.
And now it's all on your biggest screen. With the new TV app on the latest smart TVs. Be part of something bigger.
There's history here and you can feel it.
Māori Plus.
Global warming is incredibly serious. We need to cut emissions, but we need to also absorb carbon out of the atmosphere. Growing trees is the only tool we have in the toolbox for taking carbon out of the atmosphere that we can do at scale. Pinus radiata takes carbon out of the atmosphere at about 5 to 10 times the rate of native planting. And so what New Zealand Carbon Farming are doing is planting the Pinus radiata to absorb the carbon, and then they're transitioning that forest into native forest so that we get the biodiversity benefit.
Okay, guys, price to sell. We've got pasta as well. We're going to sell. Ladies and gentlemen,
this isn't about what we wore back in the day.
We're going to go now. Going once, going twice. No more offers. Sold!
It's about being trusted to get a better result for our clients since 1973.
Sport is about more than just a game. It's about going from teammates to best mates. It's the high fives and helping hands. That's why Caltex is proud to help fuel school sports.
At Apollo Projects, we create better outcomes because we never make any assumptions. Like this sports facility. The client sent out their brief. And when it came to the 4 submissions, we impressed the client with a proposal that went over and above. Because we'd done things differently. We'd pulled together a team of experts, looked around the world for inspiration, and exceeded the client brief. We even brought it in on budget by reducing fees and prioritising function over form. At Apollo, we're more innovative, create specialist project teams, deliver on our promises, and build to the budget. Apollo Projects. No assumptions, better outcomes.
The forest should never have been taken off this steep hill country that's eroding, and it makes absolute sense to afforest those hills. What we're doing here is using the exotics to help that process get established. We're looking at a managed transition process where those pines are progressively thinned as the native understory establishes. We're trying to do several things here. Soak up carbon, establish native forest, and we're trying to improve biodiversity. You're achieving an awful lot with one program of activity.
Kia ora, welcome back to Ōtautahi, Christchurch. It's the 50th New Zealand Secondary Schools Cross Country. 50 years to the day since the first one was run here in Christchurch, a few kilometres away from where we are now. It was at Cuthbert's Green that day, and the runner-up in the senior girls that day was Alison Deed, later to become Alison Rowe, and just a matter of 7 years later she won the Boston and New York marathons in 1981. Here we are for the 8th time for the cross country in Ōtautahi. And the last time here was 2017 on this course, which is Ascot and QE2 Parks. I'm Mark Rosanowski, and with me now is Pai Wynyard, and Pai joining the team. Angie Petty will be along for the senior boys race, which starts soon as well. But Pai, kia ora. You were part of this last year, and I think you finished 8th, so a few minutes out. What's it like? What are the nerves like at this point for the boys out there?
Personally, I'm definitely nervous. But once you get on the line, it kind of all goes away, and then you kind of try to lock in and try to focus just on the race instead of what's before, what's after. And so, yeah, definitely right now in the warm-up, you'll be definitely feeling the nerves.
So in the schools, obviously some of the schools have got quite large teams, and I think they're pretty much grouped together. Now, you were running for Kaipo High School, so were you pretty much sort of by yourself?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, Kaipo's not quite big on athletics, so I was most of the time me and my brother that just went to the events. But a few times I got to stay with Christchurch Boys High School, so yeah, they were kind of nice enough for me to join up with them and then spend the time with them.
That's your twin brother Tia. Now Tia's concentrated on the high jump.
Yeah, the jumping.
and up to 2 metres and 6 at the Nationals, got himself a silver in the Open Men.
Yeah, he did. He's pretty stoked with that, obviously. He's been training pretty hard, and I think he's going to try him for a lot better this next track season. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what he does.
Outstanding. There's a good clutch of young men at the moment who've sort of been jumping in and around that sort of 2 metres, 2 metres 5, and looking to see whether they can push on. And obviously, Hamish Kerr is the shining beacon right now.
Yeah, definitely. I think he wished to follow in his footsteps. There's definitely a good group of boys that could jump around that 205, 2 metres. So it'll be good competition for him for later in the season.
As for you, you've concentrated on the running, and you've picked up a medal yourself with the junior 8K, was it?
Yeah,
at the road
at
championships.
the road champs. Yes. So that was last year, the national road champs. I was lucky enough to snag the win there, which was a bit surprising actually. But it was quite good and a good experience.
Now you did the opening mihi for us earlier today, and since then I think you've been off and done some training.
Yeah. So just went off, did a quick retraining. Obviously, I got asked to do this last minute, so it was a bit of a shock that I had to do this. But it's good experience, obviously, and it's going to be fun. Yeah,
no, mighty glad to have you in, especially with that fresh experience that you had from last year. Now that was in Palmerston North. I think if I remember correctly, it might have been a windy-ish sort of a day.
Yeah, definitely. It was a bit windy, a bit muddy, bit of everything. More, I guess it's a cross-country course, so it's a bit of everything. Yeah,
I was hoping to say repo a few times mud today, but not really, because this course, although there's a little bit of light rain when we did the mihi this morning, it's actually turned into a pretty reasonable day.
Yeah, it was raining all last night, so I am quite surprised that it's not muddy than it is. But yeah, it looks quite good.
So compared to last year's course, is it relatively flat, relatively easy?
Definitely. I train here quite often, so I definitely know the course quite well, and Ascot's just flat. There's a few rises here and there, but really it's just quite flat.
Yeah. So was it 8th you finished last year?
Yeah, 8th.
And these are very, very competitive fields, and if we look at it today, just having a look through, I think there was 178 entries from 48 schools, and some runners that have already made a name for themselves as young men. So it's a very tough competition.
Yeah, definitely. The 6,000s cross country is everything from track, from the 800 to the 5,000 metre runners. There's a lot of everything.
And so in terms of tactics, as you're sort of lined up in your lane effectively there, are you looking for a point on the course where to head in the initial sprint to Kukuri?
Every time I on the start line I try to look ahead and see where the best route would be to go for the first few hundred metres. Obviously it gets really cramped on the line, but just try to push your way through and then get a good position.
Seems like there's a good wide straight here, and then it narrows towards the top. And I guess if you've got any aspirations of top 10, you've just got to be up the front.
Yeah, definitely. I know over the few years I've tried to get that top 10. I've always had to go push it out hard. So I know a lot of runners this first K will be definitely really quick.
So just looking back, last year's results, Daniel Prescott was the winner, and he was here presenting some medals at an earlier ceremony. I think he's about to head off to the States from Daniel Sinclair and Elliot Pugh. So it was pretty very tense competition, and it will be here again. Are there many from last year that you ran against that are here as a final year senior?
There's a few runners I have looked on the list, like Caleb Wagner, who's from Auckland Grammar. He's definitely one up there to watch out for, along with George Wiley, Max Woodbourne, James McClay, who's made the under-20 world qualifying time, and he's been selected to go there. So we're interested to see how well he does over there with Jamie Mora, who's going as well.
Yeah.
And there's obviously a few other runners like Ben Oxford, who I think is his first year in the seniors. So that's another name to look out for in the race. Yeah,
Ben Oxford, I remember winning the juniors last year over Desmond Reddy in the event at Palmerston North in the juniors, and Ben here up against the seniors here. You talk about that World Under-20s with James McClay. Phenomenal number of young men have gone under the Under-20 World Championship time, and that's an event that you have some experience in. Just how tough is it at the moment? I believe there was 7 or 8 athletes that qualified for
it was 3:47 or 3:48.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I mean, it was definitely a bit of a shock to see that many athletes in my age group to get that qualifying time. So I mean, it shows the competition that we have right now in the sort of running on the track and in cross country. So it'll be very interesting to see how this race folds out and who will take the lead and see what happens.
And only 2 allowed to go to that particular competition, so it's pretty tough that you can run a standard like that but still not be selected to go.
Yeah, so obviously I think James McClay definitely proved himself over this season to get those winning times and all that, and I think Jane Moore won the nationals as well, so I think they were both selected on placings as well as their qualifying time.
Yeah, it seemed that national race at Wellington at Newtown Park was going to be pivotal in terms of who was going.
Yeah, it was. I wasn't lucky enough to get into the final, but I mean, I didn't mind. I got to watch the race unfold on the sideline, which was, I think, even better. So it was, it was pretty fun.
It was. Okay, so the athletes for the senior boys are taking their positions. Ngā kai whaka teitei athletes, and about to set off on their 6-kilometre journey. So we've got Pai Wynyard. I'm about to check out briefly, and Angie Petty will slot in as they get underway.
Well, this is a very exciting race. We've all been looking forward to this all day, as the other races too. But yeah, the senior boys race is going to be very strong, especially with Caleb Wagner and George Wiley there probably as the favourites. But we won't count anybody out with a strong field the whole way through. Obviously, James McClay, Jack Erickson, Ben Oxford, Max Wildboar, Harry Witt, Max Tuttle, obviously Cooper Whiteman, Nick Dobby, Desmond Reedy. Some very fast boys about to race. So, yeah, what are your thoughts, Pai, on the 600?
I mean, yeah, there's definitely a lot of athletes up there that anything could happen in this race. Obviously, one of your athletes, Cooper Whiteman's he had an amazing track season, so it'll be interesting to see what he could do on the longer 6-kilometre cross-country course. And obviously, there's another one, Harry Witt, who's from Canterbury as well. It might be a bit biased, but I think he is a good shot at, again, that top 10 position to go over to Aussie, which will be, it'll be interesting to see what they could do.
Yeah, Harry Witt's been running very well, hasn't he? We saw him at the Canterbury Secondary School road race with Cooper Whiteman, and to be fair, Harry actually did a lot of the work, and Cooper just sat in behind, and nice for Cooper, but Cooper managed to take the win in the home straight, but Harry is looking very strong as well, and he hasn't been top 10 before, but I know that he certainly has the capability today if all goes well, so
yes, definitely.
It's going to be exciting to see what he comes through with. But yeah, we put a wee comment out to all the New Zealand distance runners around the country, and Caleb Wagner and George Wiley's name seem to come up a lot. They've been running very well. Caleb Wagner won the recent night cross up in Auckland, didn't he, with all the senior men there as well. So he, you know, for a teenager beating the seniors there is obviously in great form. As we see them get ready to take their marks and get underway. It's going to be a fast start, I'm sure, and remember they've got the extra 2k than what the girls had, so we'll expect the winner to be probably somewhere around 18-19 minutes, which is a crazy pace for that far. But
It's definitely. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how this first 200 metres folds out. I wonder if anyone's going to hold back or, oh, here we go.
Yeah, and underway are the Ngā Kai Uma, the runners taking off for that 6k National Secondary School boys race, and one that they've been probably training for months now, and the biggest race of the cross country calendar. As we see some of the boys really sprinting off hard. Looks like a good number of boys out there racing as well. Good to see some decent sized fields from all around the country. Some of them will be aiming for team spots as well to try and get themselves into the team medals. Just down by the start line just then in between, and saw a huge number from Westlake Boys High. But also, yeah, many other schools that have a good 5-10 runners out there.
Usually Westlake does have quite a big team for cross country normally. So
yeah, and they've had some very strong runners over the years, eh?
definitely.
And I'd like to mention Alfie Steedman, who's a very strong runner from there. Unfortunately, had a bit of an injury over the last year or two, but he he is one of Cooper Whiteman's main competitors, and broken some records in the previous years, and I'm sure will be back to his best again, hopefully this summer. So we see them head up that first hill, that first bookie, and the guys will be weaving around, trying to make the most of every twist and turn and position themselves as best they can.
And there we are, Caleb Wagner taking the lead, which is not surprising.
Yeah, Caleb Wagner was 10th last year, but as we all know, he's in incredible form now, so he'll be looking to take that gold today. So Caleb Wagner obviously isn't afraid to take that lead. Sometimes they like to sit back a wee bit and work their way up, but I guess he knows he's in great form, so why not just get a bit of gap on them right from the start. George Wiley's right up there too. Cooper Whiteman all having a good start. Caleb Wagner's got two coaches, I think, because he's a bit of a triathlete as well. Coach from Ben Hamilton, a triathlon coach, and also Chris Oates, the school coach there at Auckland Grammar School. He also won the Auckland Secondary School cross country title not long ago, but as we see him, they have broken away already. Caleb Wagner and George Wiley. See Lucas Martin from New Zealand Predict on there, getting his footage for the great Instagram page. You might want to give a follow. Got some great interviews on there and athlete kind of interaction. See all these boys. Very severe in there, good 400, 800 metre runner. Not quite as up there maybe over the long stuff, but all this cross country will help all these boys who are on the shorter side of things. So yeah, pretty crazy to see Caleb and George having already pulled away in the first kilometre. They're prepared to go out and try and break the field apart. Also got Desmond Reddy up towards the front as well, currently in 4th place. And Ben Oxford in 5th place from Maclean's College. So yeah, those boys look like they've got a good 50 metre gap already. George not wanting to let Caleb Wagner go.
I thought he would do that, as he is a pretty strong kick in the last few couple hundred metres.
Yeah, I saw George Wiley had a really good finish at Oceanas in that 3K. And it looks like leading the next pack is Cooper Whiteman, along with that Desmond Reddy, I think got second in the junior boys last year. Desmond was 3rd in the Wellington School Cross Country. He's run a 33 2018 10K, so he's definitely got the endurance. All these boys seem to be taking the hurdle. They're not afraid to attack that rather than going around, save themselves a bit of time. Obviously they've got 4 laps of that, so they have got more hurdles than the other athletes have. Certainly starting to warm up, so these boys won't be feeling too cold out there. Must be about 13, 14 degrees. So get up that, okay, again up that hill. And it still looks to be Caleb Wagner, George Wiley on his tail.
Well, that gap's just got him bigger and bigger.
Yeah, that's what we kind of expected, but you never know on the day. And do you think that Caleb will be trying to drop George, or do you think he's
I reckon
saving himself
Caleb
a bit?
definitely will be trying to get rid of George, because I know George will have a good last kick in the last kilometre or so. So I think it will be smart for him to try to pick up the pace if they can.
Because we know that George has got some good speed as well. I think he's run about a 1:55 maybe on the track. He certainly has that speed as well as that 8:24 3K PB. With that amazing Tauranga squad who performing incredibly well today, coached by Craig Kirkwood. There'll be a variety of different trainings that these boys will, some of them will be high mileage runners, some of them lower mileage, some of them will cross train, some thrive off a lot of threshold work. But yeah, at the moment, Caleb Wagner, George Wiley looking very smooth. Cadence just looks so nice and arms look relaxed, no strain through their shoulders, looking like they've got lots more to give. Back to the next pack, and Cooper Whiteman just looking around there. This is on the longer side for Cooper, but he is an incredible runner, and having broken that New Zealand record at 16, New Zealand under 17 record was James Harding's, obviously over the summer, of 150 at the international track meet, so he's got a lot of speed, so you probably won't want him there in the final few hundred metres. Cooper's just come back from Oceanias, so a bit of a switch up in event as well. But yeah, a lot of the other boys have also been at different events. George Wiley was over there as well in Fiji. Heard some interesting feedback from the team that they didn't have water in their hotel at one stage, and a few things going on, but I think they overall had a great time over there, and it was an awesome event. And we've got Nick Dobby up there, number 277 as well, at a New Plymouth Boys High. And Cooper still in that pack. Samuel Rickaby, King's College. Ben Oxford, he won the juniors last year, the junior title, secondary school title. Has a 3K PB of 8:39, so Ben Oxford is also a very strong runner out of Auckland, coached by Nick Coldra. But just look at these boys go over that hurdle, and looks like that Caleb Wagner might just be starting to pull away from George slightly. It's hard to say. George will be doing all he can to try and stay with him. Great to see Caleb's improved so much over the last year. I mean, 10th was still great last year, but obviously he's another whole class now, and as they get older and get more training under their belt, as the rest, another pack comes through, see James McClay in that pack as well. Obviously James is a very, very strong 8:15 runner from Invercargill, selected for the World Junior team. That will be going to Peru in August. That was the amazing event where they had 7 boys qualify from around New Zealand for the
very stacked year.
running all between 3:46 to 3:47. And just amazing that New Zealand running is just not only distance running, but all events so strong right now, and obviously Olympic year as well will be keeping everyone excited, but so many young ones coming through, such depth. So yeah, we're halfway through, 3Ks through the race. As that gap still looks pretty large between the first 2 and the rest of the field, which is another pack, and then, lots of little packs throughout. The Naikai Uma, the runners, giving it all they can out there. All their training. There's Cooper Whiteman at the front of that pack. James McClay. I can see Harry Witt in there from
Yeah, good to see that.
Rangiora High School, my old high school. Not that I'm biased, but a very good school. Just to get a bit of banter about, you know, maybe not being the greatest school, but I think it's great. It's what you make it, isn't it? And that's a wee while ago now. I finished school in 2009, but anyway, we don't have to mention that. Yeah, so barely a breath of wind, probably about 13, 14 degrees out there, pretty dry underfoot, so we've probably got a lot of 9 mil spike usage going on, maybe some 12s. Even after all that rain though, it's quite a sand base under here. So yeah, current degrees, 12 degrees. Pretty good conditions for cross-country running. Obviously you want a bit warmer for track, but this is quite nice for 6K. Caleb Wagner obviously has the strength of being a triathlete, and I'm sure does a lot of swimming and cycling as well, which must be transferring over well for his running. And having Ben Hamilton, amazing triathlon coach there in Auckland, as well as his school coach, Chris Oates. And some of these boys will be looking to go to America in the coming years, I'm sure. Obviously, the academic year is August, so some of them will be going next August, so they have about a 9-month gap between finishing high school and heading away. And there might even be some American coaches tuning in now, so great to see these boys working hard to give it all they've got. Or someone might have the stitch. That's no fun. How do you think this course compares to last year's course, Pai?
Definitely a lot more flat. Last year's course was muddy and hilly, obviously, but this course, yeah, Ascot's quite a flat course, so there's more speed in this sort of course. So I don't know if these strength-based runners will be able to use much of the hills, which there isn't really in this course. But
yeah,
it's good to see.
I keep talking about Te Puke, the hill, but it's not really much of a hill compared to that Palmerston North course had a big hill last year.
Hill, yeah, remember that.
And but yeah, we're seeing those boys coming around again for that final lap. 1,500 metres to go. These boys will know that's probably about the speed, maybe just over 4 minutes of pain left. And yeah, at the moment, Caleb Wagner hasn't quite dropped George Wiley. George Wiley will be doing all he can to stay with her, but Caleb Wagner is doing all the work at the moment at leading. And that next bunch, it's going to be really tight for that bronze medal. Wouldn't count anyone out yet. And yeah, Sam Rickaby from King's College there at the front of that pack. Harry Witt in there, James McClay, Cooper Whiteman still in there. They'll be wanting that bronze medal. They know that, well, they'll probably know that there's only 2 boys ahead and that they really need to be at the front of this pack in that home straight to take that bronze medal.
I think most of these runners will also be happy with just that top 10 placing, so they could get into that New Zealand team to travel over to Australia.
That's true. That is as we see, Caleb Wagner just looks to be pulling away a wee bit there from George Wiley. But yeah, you're right. Top 10 is a huge honour at this level. With almost 200 boys in the race, I'm sure they'll be stoked to get that top 10 and to make that New Zealand team. Some of them, it might be their first time representing New Zealand, and some have done it before, but either way, it's a pretty special moment to wear a New Zealand singlet.
It's a very good experience as well. Obviously, you get to meet a good group of guys if you haven't met them before, and you race and train alongside them. So.
That's right, and meeting the best of Australia's runners as well,
yes,
and
definitely.
Getting that exposure. All that kind of thing can lead to sponsorship and all that, which all helps with the journey. I know for myself it was a big part of it, getting sponsored as I got older and faster, and obviously it does add up all the costs involved with the sport. Not that it is expensive as some sports, you don't really need too much, only a pair of shoes and some spikes. But all the travel does add up a bit, so I'm sure the parents will appreciate a bit of funding. And it's special mention to all those parents that have enabled these boys to be able to chase their dreams and support them all around the country, and provide the funds and the taking them to training, day in, day out, supporting them to get to events and everything as well. I know my parents were a big part of my journey. It was still are a big part of my journey. Big shout out to Mum and Dad, Liz and Mike. But no, these parents will be so proud of their sons going around and giving their best, whether they're first or whether they're last. As long as they give it their best, they should be proud.
Come on, Collegiate, you've got this, buddy. You've got this.
So this is the last of the rihi, last of the races, and we're finishing on a high. Looks like that second pack, it might be a few of them are broken away from each other. You can see Cooper Whiteman and Harry Witt in that pack. I didn't quite see the other one. This will be a huge run from Harry Witt. I don't think he's been top 10 before.
Yeah, he's only been training, I think this is maybe his third year running, so he's definitely kind of used to it. I went out for a run with him a few weeks ago, and it's definitely pushing the pace. It's hard to keep up with him, so his training's definitely going good at the moment, so it'll be good to see how he does.
And what kind of training are you in at the moment? Are you in kind of base work, or?
Yeah, just building into it, just getting that base back. Obviously had a few weeks off after athletics, so
yep.
Track's in, so you're just building into it.
And you prefer the track over the cross country, or?
I think I would rather the cross country over the track.
Right, you are strong on cross country and road, obviously.
And road, yes.
Yeah.
So,
oh, and here we go. Caleb Wagner, what a huge win he just took there. We all thought it was coming, but to actually nail it. Well done, Caleb Wagner, your senior boys national cross country champion. George Wiley second. Very strong run by George Wiley from Tauranga boys. You can see that space that they had before third place. We'll see coming through soon. Massive breakaway, but those two boys, incredible running. Caleb Wagner's time, 17:57. That's a bloomin' fast time as well. George Wiley, 18:15. Oh, and who is going to be in third? We can't quite see at the moment. Samuel Rickaby in third place, and Hamish Murray and Cooper Whiteman. Oh, that was a very close finish by a lot of those boys. There's Harry Witt in top 10 as well. Oh, looks like we have a bit of vomit from Cooper. James McClay. Oh, great running. Yeah, and that Ben Oxford in 10th place there. Connor Kemp in 11th, Robert Fitzpatrick 12th, and Red Scampion in 13th, Jake Lomas 14th. That's what we have coming through at the moment. All these boys giving it all they can. It's a long way. 19 minutes of running for a lot of these guys coming through now. What a win by Caleb Wagner. Yeah, good mix of schools coming through. Tiger Boys School, 344 athlete there. Tauranga Boys, he'll be proud of his teammate George Wiley. King's College. These teams events are going to be interesting. There was Jack Erickson coming through for 35th. All these boys aiming for the just making it into the top 50. There's Lachlan Rayner, a Brisbane athlete. Desmond Reddy, 52nd. Dropped back a wee bit from earlier in the race, but still a strong run. First year senior. Oh, these boys deserve a chocolate milk now. Hot work. Max Aldridge, one of the younger boys in the field, just coming through from Christchurch College. Oh, that's McRae Smith. Strong run there. Any big surprises for you there today, Pai?
Honestly, not really. I knew Caleb Wagner and George Wiley will definitely be up in that, battling it out for that first place. I think James McClay, I knew he would be able to get in that top 10. Maybe even better, but he obviously had one hell of a good season as well for the athletics, so it'll be good to see what he does at this World Champs.
Yeah, Samuel Rickaby, I think, is pretty young, getting in third there. It looks like he was first in the intermediate boys at the Auckland Secondary School's just been. So he must be first year senior. So he did a very strong run getting third. But yeah, James McClay, as you say, looking on form for World Juniors.
Yes, definitely.
Getting in that top 10. All these boys run so well. Oh, that was a pretty cool move over the finish line. He might have to take the win for the most impressive finish. That's number 273 crossing over. Not as quick as Mark at getting all the names up, sorry. Burnside High finishing in there for the 789 or 788.
Yeah, thanks to Pai Wynyard there for joining us, and Pai will be back for the closing mihi as well. He's just going to go out and catch up with a few of the runners, a few of his mates there, Angie, and get a bit of inside information for us and see how they feel. But it was a good, keen, competitive race as we expected, although dominated from the front by Caleb Wagner, although George Wiley certainly hung in there and made a race of it, and he was able to cement second pretty early on.
That's right. I mean, George Wiley was a good 35 seconds ahead of third place, Samuel Rickaby, looking by the results there. So Caleb Wagner was almost 20 seconds, 18 seconds ahead of George Wiley. And then, yeah, George Wiley had a good 35-second lead on third place, and then it was all pretty close between those boys, with Hamish Murray in fourth place, Cooper Whiteman fifth, Joe Martin sixth, Nick Dobby seventh, Harry Witt 8th, James McLean 9th, and Ben Oxford rounding out that top 10.
So Harry Witt taking 8th this year from Rangiora High, and 8th last year was Pai Wynyard from Kaiapu High. So one for your school and one for my school.
Yeah, there you go. Good old North Canterbury,
indeed. Yes.
Yeah, a bit of a rivalry between the two schools and rugby and all that, but
exactly.
Great to see these boys that, you know, doing so well. And I think, as we said, Harry hasn't been necessarily up there other years, but just shows what hard work can do. He's worked away, and he's got a great coach, Mark Reid, who also coaches Taylor Cox, who mentioned got second in the Year 9 girls. A great run that she did from Christchurch Girls High. So obviously doing something very well with them. And yeah, but great to see. And Ben Oxford was always, you know, one of the favourites in there, and one of the, you know, the winner from last year's junior race, stepping up to that next level with the senior race this year.
Yeah, to make top 10 there. Ben from Maclean's College. Caleb Wagner, of course, from Auckland Grammar. There was a strong Auckland Grammar contingent here. Caleb, one of the runners who went to the World Cross Country recently in Nairobi, Kenya, and was the first Kiwi home there in 18th, which is a very good placing at a World Cross Country. And
phenomenal.
Leading home the New Zealand team, under 18 team, who placed 5th there. And Caleb has been able to bring that form back home.
Yeah, so very strong running from Westlake. I think they took out the team's event there. And yeah, they have a great contingent of athletes, great team. I saw them having a bit of a team huddle at the start line there when I popped down between the races. And I think it may have been Alfie Steedman supporting them there, who, as I say, will be back, I'm sure, broken New Zealand records already, and a great run of the future. So it's always hard to see some of these athletes that might miss events some years with sickness and injury. But don't worry, you'll have your turn, and we're excited to see you back out there. I'm sure there's a few others as well that may have missed today for one reason or another, but that's the nature of the sport, and it keeps you hungry.
Indeed, we will look forward to the medal ceremonies all going well for the senior girls, senior boys. There is a prize giving later as well, but further down the track from here in Christchurch, and obviously the teams awards will be given out there as well. And Angie, tomorrow everyone's back here again, well, not us, but the runners are. I assume you will be. For the relays, which is a relatively new concept. I think it might be in its 8th year.
Yeah, I think it's such a great idea. It's really fast with 2k laps, or 1k laps, but you do it twice each and run 2k each, and it's a phenomenal event. And here we go with the results up on wood.
So Caleb Wagner there, 17:15.2 over George Wiley, Samuel Rickaby 3rd, Hamish Murray 4th, Cooper Whiteman 5th, Joe Martin, Nick Dobby, all under 19 minutes. Harry Witt just a tick over. James McLeay in there for 9th, and Ben Oxford wrapping up that 10th spot, with the top 10 being the New Zealand secondary schools cross-country team, and same applying for the senior women. A little bit earlier, the Year 9 girls ran. We didn't cover the Year 9s, but Lee Murray won it in 10:44.3, I think, from Pakuranga, over Taylor Cox, and Olivia McDowell was 3rd. They all came in under 11 minutes. And then in the boys, Ronan Dickens, Tauranga boys, I think, over Jacob Williams from Hutt Valley. I don't know if you saw that finish, Angie. That was the tightest finish of the day for first and second between Ronan and Jacob, and Ronan came through very late in the piece over Jacob there, and William Mulder was 3rd.
That was an incredible finish. Only a second in it. Exactly a second in it, it looks like. So, yeah, very good on those boys. And in Year 9, if they can be finishing like that already, to think what they have to come, and giving it everything right to the finish line. And it's never too late to you always want to run through the line. I've seen athletes been beaten by that before. But yeah, very strong running from those Year 9s. And I'm sure we'll see them coming up in the years to come.
Yeah, indeed. Well, if I look back on the Year 9 results from the couple of years that I've been coming, and 2 years ago when I was in Nelson, Angie, and we first got to work there briefly. Desmond Reddy was the Year 9 boy winner there, and of course we saw him in the seniors this year, and he was second to Ben Oxford in the juniors last year. And Desmond, as you say, will get another go at the seniors next year. Imogen Barlow won the Year 9 girls in Nelson 2 years ago from Scarlett Robb, who we saw place today, and Lisa Hellier, who we saw place today in the seniors. So very much those same names coming through. And of course Bo Ritchie has been prominent right throughout her secondary school years there at St. Peter's.
Yeah, I was just talking to Bo Ritchie before between races, and she actually got it spiked. She said she wasn't sure whether it was someone else or whether she spiked herself, but I don't think she was too worried. She said it didn't hurt too much, and obviously it was worth it for a gold medal. But she's well on track for her World Junior debut next month, and we'll be heading away with the team and have a few weeks over there before before pursuing that 800 metre on the international stage. So very excited for the New Zealand team, and they'll have a camp in Auckland before they head away. But obviously she's well, her training's going really well. She's in good form.
For certain. What is it like for her, someone coming back from sort of like 4K cross country at this time of the year and then dropping back to be at her peak for 800 metres?
Yeah, I mean, I think she is just such a talent that obviously Ancient Rusk has got it all planned and has been doing very, very well with her over the years. So I'm sure they are getting a good base in, but will also be keeping in her speed work. And I know I think she's got a sprint coach that works in with the team, and keeping a bit of work on the track, but probably particularly more so in the coming weeks. As she gets closer to that. Sometimes it's a bit hard in the winter, but I guess it's not quite so bad up north as it is in Christchurch. Training through, I remember myself before going to World International events, it was sometimes a bit harder in May, June when it was getting cold to get that track work in, but it's all worth it once you get over there and you get that lift when you get to the warmer weather. And but Bo, I mean, that's incredible. I mean, I guess I did decently well over 800 as a junior and as a senior, but I was never that good at cross country as her. Like, for her to win that title and then still be that good over 800 is just phenomenal.
Yes, we talk about the Christchurch days and the winters, and obviously the frosts in the morning. Do you ever have to train in those conditions? And if you do, what do you wear?
Yeah, I mean, it does. I mean, we've had quite a few hard frosts already this winter and had to defrost the car and all of that. But I think it does toughen you up a wee bit. So you just have to wear the full tights and the beanies and the gloves. And but I mean, I guess compared to Canada where it's -20, we can't really complain. It would be nice to have an indoor track. Maybe that's something we can hope for in New Zealand one day. To be able to have some indoor racing, because obviously we've got some great athletes over indoor, with Geordie Beamish winning that that world title earlier in the year.
Yeah, that was one of my favourite moments of the year, and the look of sheer shock mixed with delight on his face.
Yes, it was an incredible finish, wasn't it? I mean, Geordie Beamish is known for his finishes, and to have come through like he did and win such a big title bodes well for his Olympic race, championships coming up. Obviously over the steeplechase, but I wouldn't be surprised if he, can even get up and towards the medals, which would be incredible.
Quite extraordinary how quickly he's come on in the 3,000 metre steeplechase, having taken up that discipline quite recently, and then also to have qualifying time for 5,000 metres. Never mind what he did over the 1,500 as well.
I know, it's insane, isn't it? It's so good for New Zealand. And if you want something interesting to listen to, the Coffee Club podcast that he runs, he's part of each week. You get some great insight to all his training and what they're doing over there and in the States, and part of the On Running Club with Ollie Hoare, the Australian, and Morgan McDonald as well. So yeah, shout out to the Coffee Club.
Yeah, nice. Did you get your coffee in the end?
I did get my coffee, and it gave me a wee bit of a boost, so that was good. Yeah. So it's and caffeine is actually something that a lot of athletes, older athletes probably not so much, these young ones will find as useful for racing as well. Get that wee caffeine hit.
So we've got the best part of the day here with the sun having broken through and some of that cloud burned off. It actually turned into a pretty decent afternoon. I can see some people on the podium over there, but I think they're just playing, Angie, and I'm not sure whether we're going to be having another medal ceremony or not in the near future. But if they were to be having them soon, we'd be looking to cover them. But certainly in terms of today, we've got to say that it would appear that cross-country running in New Zealand is in pretty safe feet, really.
I would definitely say so. I mean, gosh, you can see that, those two boys at the front did break away, but those times were crazy for that distance. And I think there was similar or even slightly quicker. I don't want to say for sure, but then Sam Tanner ran. I mean, obviously every course is a bit different, but when he was back here in 2017, I think he was around 18 minutes on that 6K circuit. But yeah, so for that kind of fast running today, with Caleb Wagner winning it in 17:57 is pretty crazy. I mean, we'll see what the exact distance shows on the GPS data, but very, very strong, and he looks to be leading the way, and with all those other boys as well, and the likes of Cooper Whiteman having broken the New Zealand record over 1,500, over 800 metres this summer just been, but also running incredibly well over 1,500. some of these other boys as well, like James McClay, and as I say, 7 boys qualifying for World Juniors in the 1500 this year, with Jamie Moore being the fastest of the bunch. Jamie Moore obviously just finishing school at the end of last year, but yeah, he'll certainly be one to watch in the future, as are all these other boys.
So it's the 50th New Zealand Secondary Schools Cross Country here in Ōtautahi, Christchurch. I think we're getting a call up for certificates and medals, if I heard correctly out the back. If that is the case, we'll try and take in that medal ceremony. We might take the opportunity to take a break, and on the other side, see if we can't wrap up this 50th edition of the New Zealand Secondary Schools Cross Country here in Ōtautahi, Christchurch.
Yeah, and thank you for all the staff that are working, volunteers that are working behind the scenes to make this event run. Obviously Tony Rogers organising it all, and all the other volunteers as well, the local Athletics Canterbury committee who have been working hard from setting up the course, John Gamlin, and to the behind the scenes technical work as well. It does certainly take a large team to put on these events, and I know as an athlete you might not always realise how much goes on, but I'm super grateful for that, to have these opportunities that these athletes will treasure forever.
Yes, certainly the local organising committee, they've done an excellent job here today, and of course it will continue tomorrow, and the relays will be here in the morning. We talked about earlier on, just having a look out there to see whether we might be close to a medal ceremony. Certainly the athletes want the opportunity to warm down and to recover from their exertions. Senior boys doing 4 laps of the 1.5 kilometre circuit for this year's cross country, Ōtautahi Whenua cross country. Words that we've been putting in today. I was hoping to use repo more, Angie, for mud, but wasn't one of those days.
No, it wasn't. I think you can't really complain with the course conditions today. It was very nice and quite different to my husband would say, the typical British cross country, where it's a couple of feet of mud around every turn. But it was pretty dry out there really, and meant for fast conditions and good times and good battles, and all those track athletes would have preferred that.
6 Rihi today races, and around the track Amio here at Ascot Park, Kiwitu Park, not too far away from where Kiwitu Park once stood, the home of Canterbury Athletics for so long, and the scene, of course, of the 1974 Commonwealth Games. Now,
it's been good to see Daniel Prescott out there today, winner of last year's national title up in Palmerston North, and he obviously got the double with the cross-country title as well as the 1500 metre secondary school title in the same year. So we're very proud of him, and he's been out there supporting everybody. So it's great to see these athletes that come back, and obviously he's a local athlete. He'll be heading off to the States in August, but great to see the support. And then I know from a lot of the other seniors as well that still stay very engaged with these athletes, and the likes of Cameron Avery and David Lee and all those boys who support these younger athletes that are coming up, and the senior and the women as well. I see Gabi out there, Gabi Newman, and Chloe Hughes, and a lot of these older athletes that do come back and give back and are part of that running community, and it's such a great community.
And Daniel Prescott, will be interesting to track his progress when he travels abroad, but his front-running style has been good to watch over the past 12 months, and in particular that 1500 metre win at the Nationals, where he really broke up the field from the front.
Can I just tell you that as a coach, it was pretty nerve-wracking watching that race. I think it was nerve-wracking for anybody, to be honest, but we weren't too sure if he was going to be able to hold on. I mean, I should say that I fully believed he would, but it was pretty fast first 800, 158 through the 800 at the time. That was actually a PB for his 800 split, so I thought, goodness me, is he going to hold on? And he did amazing. And a strong finish to hold on for that win. And there's Daniel Prescott on screen handing out the awards today.
He's got a very distinctive style. Let's get to the awards ceremony.
In 11th place, and athlete, we have Sarah Hellier from Onehunga High School.
Yeah, so Sarah's obviously one of the incredible twins who has been very dominant on the track, along with her sister, Lisa.
In 10th place, we have Gemma Wilson, who is one of our Brisbane athletics visitors.
Well worth your trip across the Tasman.
Good to have the Brisbane runners here today. Cooler climate for them, but ultimately
in
not
9th place,
a
we
bad
have
day.
Kate Curry from Christchurch Girls High School.
Kate Curry running phenomenally after coming back from Kenya and coming out there today for another top 10 finish after being
In
top 10
8th
last year
place, we
too.
have Asher Edwards from Takapuna Grammar School.
Good to see Angus Sevier there, unfortunately injured at the moment, but he's obviously one of New Zealand's best runners as well, handing out the awards there.
In 7th place, we have Bryn Gordon from Cashmere High School.
Very gutsy run by Bryn Gordon, leading early stages of that race, and one of the younger seniors in the race, so lots to come from her.
In 6th place, we have Coco Fiddler from Brisbane Athletics.
So a couple from Brisbane in the top 10.
In 5th place, we have Latika from Takapuna Grammar School.
Dad Jared will be very pleased. Amazing running by his daughter. Again, I saw her doing some of the early leading as well. Very gutsy runner. Sure, Coach Neville will be also very proud of Sienna. Great run, just missing the medals, but still 4th place at that level is just phenomenal.
We have Scarlett Robb from St Cuthbert's College.
Scarlett is a first-year senior. Phenomenal run there to get that bronze.
Winning the silver medal, we have Lisa Hellier from Onehunga High School.
And Lisa really took it to Bow and tried to run the kick out of Bow, but it just wasn't
And
possible.
in first place and New Zealand
she
champion,
did run
we have
phenomenally,
Bo
but
Ritchie from St Peter's School,
Oh my
Cambridge.
gosh, what a race. And to be able to, yeah, she almost looked like she got broken off, but about to come back and take that win with a great finish there. Phenomenal athlete. Someone for all these young girls to look up to as well. And we were very excited to see her on the world stage.
So I think we have missed a certificate because there were 2 Brisbane athletes. Poppy Healy was actually 10th.
So Poppy Healy, she finished 12th overall, but with 2 Brisbane athletes, Poppy gets a certificate for 10th and becomes part of the top 10 New Zealand finishers there in the senior girls cross country. Sorry, just having a few problems with the microphone out there, but we've been covering off the recipients as we go, and we've got one medal ceremony to come for the senior boys,
Straight into the
and
boys'
we'll go straight into that. So we might keep talking here, Angie, with the presentation microphone just dropping out over there, but we'll work through the top 10 for the senior boys, and Ben Oxford doing well, stepping up into the seniors and making the top 10 is quite a feat.
It sure is. He had a really, really good race, and yeah, getting that top 10 is a huge achievement, something that you can look back at for the last, well, since the event's been running the last 50 years and see that a lot of those top 10 athletes go on to do pretty incredible things, as do some of the boys further back in the field. I know that not everybody loves the 6K distance, but might still be very good over the shorter stuff.
And they're still gathering the top 10 boys. Not an easy feat at this stage of the day.
Yeah, and a lot of these boys probably wanting to get lunch in soon. They might be starting to get hungry. Sometimes you don't feel like food for the first wee while, even though you try and get it in as soon as you can. Sometimes the tummy's feeling a little bit unsettled. initially.
And of course, they're looking after their bodies to back up in the relays tomorrow.
That's right, yep. So fueling is key. It's such an important part of life, but also of the sport to make sure you are fueling well. Obviously, there's a lot of dangers around not eating enough. So, yeah, so hopefully all these boys and girls are well aware of that.
Warming down process, probably more important than us weekend warriors suggest it is as well.
Yes, I mean, obviously after a big event you might want to be celebrating and all that, but if you can get your warm down in as soon as possible, it does make a difference. Obviously helps you to recover for the next day and for the training to come. But also with those relays tomorrow, they'll be wanting to recover as best they can, so it probably means no partying tonight, sorry athletes. Maybe tomorrow night.
Sunday, that's tricky.
Yeah. No, it's yeah, it's good to have your fun as well, isn't it, along the way? But a lot of focus and dedication goes into it, and sometimes missing out on things at school and events that other people might be going to. But as long as you make sure you still have some fun along the way. I know a lot of the athletes have got formals on at the moment, so yeah, gotta make time for that too.
Yes. Well, certainly Pi was talking about the camaraderie and he as a Kaipa High School athlete was obviously often travelling alone, but Christchurch Boys High sort of welcomed him in.
That's awesome.
And yeah, which is kind of cool when you're coming from one of the smaller schools.
Totally, that's what it's about. And yeah, I mean, a lot of my friends to this day are friends that I've met through the sport. Well, my husband I met through running, so that's a pretty good catch.
Oh, indeed. The biggest of all.
Yeah, but definitely met him at Island Fields training in 2012. I'm sure everyone was so excited to hear my story. No, not really.
Oh,
no, but yeah, he came out as part of his internship from Birmingham University in the UK. Wanted a running squad to train with while he was here, so got in touch with Maria, my coach, and well, I think we're starting to do those awards. But yes, we met at the track, and the rest is history. And here's Ben Oxford coming in for 10th place.
Maclean's College colours. We have James McClay from Southland. He made a real impact on the track this year.
Yeah, with that 3:46 1500 that he ran, just a phenomenal athlete. Ran that with the senior guys at the Auckland meet, Sir Graham Douglas.
And Harry Witt from your old school.
Yeah, well, good old Rangiora High School. Also known as Goon High, am I allowed to say that? But yeah, great athlete Harry Witt, very exciting progress that he's made over this last year.
Nick Dobby out of New Plymouth was prominent for a fair way there, and he finished 7th ultimately.
Yeah, that pack all pretty close together, only kind of a couple of seconds between most of these top 8 of the 10.
And Joe Martin joined that pack as well out of Wellington College, and he managed to claw his way up to 6th.
In 5th place we have Cooper Whiteman from Christchurch Boys High School.
Another good run from local runner Cooper Whiteman.
Yeah, exactly a second ahead of Joe Martin, so yeah, pretty close. Cooper being dominant on the track as well. And
Hamish Murray out of Aquinas in 4th spot, just outside the medals.
I think Hamish Murray's just come back from Oceanas as well, so a few of those boys over there together.
In 3rd place we have Samuel Rickaby from King's College.
So well done to Samuel Rickaby out of King's College. He headed that pack in. Obviously George and Caleb were gone for the gold and silver. Samuel managed to claim the bronze for himself ahead of a competitive pack.
In silver medal position we have George Wiley from Tauranga Boys College.
Yeah, George Wiley from Tauranga Boys College. What a great run that was to get that 2nd place.
Hung in there as long as he could. But there was no denying Caleb Wagner, Auckland Grammar, dominating from the front and clearing out ultimately for about an 18-second win.
So good to see after him doing all that early leading work as well. He wasn't afraid to make it an honest, fast race right from the start. In that first few hundred metres, he got to the front and held on, broke the field apart, and they just couldn't keep with him. So amazing running by Caleb Wagner.
So there's the top 10 for the senior boys for 2024, wrapping up this day and this 50th running of the New Zealand Secondary Schools cross country here in Ōtautahi, Christchurch.
Amazing day of Ōtautahi whenua cross country today, and it's been such an honour to bring you this coverage. Incredible running out there, and I'm sure there's many happy coaches and parents and athletes themselves, so congratulations to all, but also to those that maybe didn't have the race that they would have wanted. You know, it's part of the sport, and you will be back better than ever, so don't be too hard on yourself.
And so we're going to have Pai Wynyard for the closing mihi, but from me, Mark Rosanowski, I'll say ngā mihi nui mātou koto hononga mai ki mātou. Many thanks for joining us, and Angie Petty. Angie, pleasure working with you once again. Hopefully we can down the track.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me as well. It's been a real honour, and all the best to all these athletes as they progress to their coming races.
And we'll hand over to Pai. This is Pai Wynyard, who's been with us throughout the coverage, gave us the opening mihi earlier in the day. Pai, your honour to close our coverage here on Whakaata Māori this afternoon.
Nō reira, ko uti wa mātou mahi I tēnei rā. Ki ngā kai whakahaere, me ngā kai whakataitai, kia haumaru tā koutou hukinga ki a koutou kanga. Tēnā koutou ngā kai mati katiki, a tā koutou tūhono mai. Noho ora mai.
Mā te wā.
This is an opportunity that we can't pass on.